Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Good, good. All right, council, we're gonna go ahead and get started. All right, Paula, if you can go ahead and show us, it's at 6:30. We'll go ahead and start the meeting. If you can go ahead and do roll call, please.
District 2 Alderman Sam Cortez.
Here.
District 3 Alderman David Emery.
Here.
District 4 Alderman Michael Rodriguez.
Here.
District 5 Alderman Charles Gate.
Here.
And District 1 Joseph Morissette.
Thank you, appreciate that. Okay, if everybody can please stand, and we're gonna go ahead and get started with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you so much, appreciate that. Great way to start. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into number 4, citizens to be heard. This is the opportunity for citizens, visitors, and guests to address the city council on any issue or any item of the agenda. In compliance with LGC section 551.007, city council may not discuss any presented issue, nor may take any action to be taken at any issue at this time. Citizens to be heard are limited to 3 minutes each. Attorney General Opinion, JC-0169. So I know nobody signed up for comments, but I still want to go ahead and give the opportunity. Is there anybody that would like to go ahead and address the council with any citizens to be heard? Going once? Going twice? Okay, Paola, if you can actually go ahead and put us down. We did not have anybody. Go ahead and say anything. Okay, just want to read something before we jump into the other section. I'd like to mention that we can't directly hear or see this individual anymore, but I'd like to say that Frankie Carrillo is still among us and listening via a different platform versus YouTube. Thank you, Frankie, for always listening in and making sure that our community voice was heard. We will miss you. Please rest in peace. But I know one thing about Frankie, and he would not want us to be sad. And of course, he would want us to be able to be smiling, and especially when we were talking about our pirates. So let's go ahead and get started and take care of our proclamation. So if we could have the boys come on up, and we'll go ahead and do the presentation. All right, right there. All right. All right, go ahead, sweetie. Go ahead, come all the way over here. Oh, we good. All right, we go ahead and start.
Whereas the city of Paleto recognizes the Pirates as District 28 AAA champions winning district with an undefeated season and cold-blooded 32 minutes. Let's get it. And whereas the city highlights this year's Pirates basketball team as by district champions, area champions, regional quarter and semifinal champions, regional 4 champions, state semifinalists, and ranked number 7 by TABC, and for returning to the state level after 99 years of the last team. And whereas the city council would like to congratulate the following members for this outstanding team: Jordan Valderaz, Thomas Benavides, Andres Cardenas, Malachi Castro, Derek Diaz, Andrew Gonzalez, Chase Guevara, Jillian Guevara, Tristan Guevara, Demetrius Lopez, Lee Mills, Brandon Obando, Zachary Perez, Eli Vega, team managers Ashley Casas, Michaela Benavides, Haley Hernandez, and Francis Sotelo. And whereas the city highlights Jordan Valderas, Thomas Benavides, Andres Cardenas, Malachi Castro, Jalen Guevara, Demetrius Lopez, and Eli Vega for their accomplishments as seniors at the Lido High School. Jordan's selection as GASO 3A Player of the Year, TABC All-Star Team, All-State TABC All-Region 4 Team, District 28 3A, unanimous MVP, and selected to play in the SDCA All-Star Basketball Game. along with jail installation for TABC, All Region 14, District 28, 3A, Offensive Player of the Year, and being picked to play the STCA All-Star Basketball in Malachi's selection as District 28, 3A Defensive MVP, and his selection to play in the STCA All-Star Basketball team. In addition, Thomas Eli Andres and named as part of the District 2838 first team, and whereas the City of Vallejo recognizes Chase Guevara for his selection as District 2838 Newcomer of the Year, and whereas the City recognizes Coach Jacob Hernandez and his assistants Artie Vela and Chris Cotello for their involvement and accomplishments with the state-level basketball team.
All right. So now therefore, I, Ruben Gonzalez, by the virtual authority vested in me as the mayor of the City of Lido, Texas, in recognition therefore do hereby proclaim that the City of Lido, Texas feels this proclamation is in order to recognize the many accomplishments of the ISD's 2023 Pirates High School basketball team. We're gonna need to squeeze together, but I just want to let you guys, you guys are just unbelievable, and you made history. I mean, you really made. You see the goosebumps? I got some goosebumps going. You guys just made history, and you made a difference not only out on the court, but you made a difference in our community, making sure you brought us all together, and then you carried us along the way. You have actually put us on the map. I can't tell you how many times folks have actually contacted me. And hey, I hear you guys got a good basketball team. And it's because of your efforts and the impact that you have. So I can't thank you enough on behalf of the council and all of us in the city to say thank you so much for not only of what you have accomplished and done, but being such great ambassadors. You guys kind of proved yourselves out there, and a lot of people have actually recognized what it's all about. So a small token of appreciation to be able to, Coach, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate what you've done. We're gonna try to squeeze in, let's see, tall people in the back, and then we'll try to get everybody in here. And then family members, we're gonna take a photo, and then after we get done the photo, if you wanna go ahead and join us in the back or on the sides, you can get everybody. Make sure that we can see your faces over here, okay? So we're gonna take photos. If you guys wanna come over, if you're gonna take a photo, come on over here. Come on over. Yeah. Oh, I think this is the first time that it's hard to see the council. You got some tallness here. So if you guys want to come over on the side, make sure we can see you right in there. All right. So here we go. Take a photo. Oh, hold on. Hey, Lori, get in. Join us. Just join us. Get right in there. Here we go. Take a photo. Okay, we got everybody? Okay, parents, come on up. Let's see, we can get on the sides. We can stay there, Lori. Squeeze everybody in here. We got in the back, wherever you want to be. Here we go.
I'm short, so I gotta be in
Right here. We got room. In here. There you go. Make sure we can see the camera. Everybody can get seen. Okay. All right. Well, another round of applause. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Small token of our appreciation. You guys made history. Will always be remembered. Always be remembered. Thanks for making the mark. Okay? Thanks for making the mark. Appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Really appreciate it. All right. There we go, sir. We got more to go. Okay? Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. Appreciate it. There you go. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. We took care of one great team, but we got another one to take care of.
Okay, we're gonna do one quick thing because the boys are gonna leave.
Okay.
So, well, behalf of the whole coaching staff, but we feel like you really supported us. You were there with us all the time, so we wanted to make sure that we gave this to you. So we want to present you with this plaque, and it says, Pirate Athletics presents this award with heartfelt appreciation to Ruben Gonzalez, the mayor of the city of Lido, in recognition of your incredible commitment, dedication, and support. We just want you to know how much we care about you and we love you. Take a picture.
Yeah. If it wasn't for Ruben, there'd be a few waves that we could do. There you go.
I know, I'm short.
There you go. Here goes Tim.
Thank you so much. This is an honor. You guys are unbelievable. Appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And to the coaches, on behalf of the council, we want to say thanks for the swag. Thank you for the hats and the shirts. So we really appreciate it. Thank you. That is really good. Thank you so much. Okay, let's take care of the other great team that we have. Come on up. Come on up, Rose. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
City of Lido recognizes that the Lido Lady Pirates. Oh, they're coming in already. Oh, they're coming in.
Hey, hi. How are you, man? Good.
You're not too.
Whereas the City of Lido recognizes that Lido, the Lady Pirates are District 27 3A basketball champions, winning district for 3 straight seasons, along with winning 60 games and doing this with an undefeated season in 2023. And whereas the city highlights this year's Lady Pirates team as by-district champions, area champions, regional quarterfinal champions, back-to-back regional semifinal champions. And whereas the city council would like to congratulate the following members for this outstanding team: Valentina Ayala, Ariana Garcia, Cameron Fitzhutton, Amelia Martinez, Kenny Martinez, Jessica Mata, Luna Reyes, Rose Costello, Mackenzie Sessom, Calissa Severe, Katera Whitfield, team managers Lola Patino and Olivia Vilma. And whereas the city highlights Fitzhutton and Candy Martinez, Rose Costello, and Mackenzie Sessom for their accomplishments as seniors at the Lido High, along with Fizz and Candy being selected for the STCA All-Star Basketball Game and receiving All-District Academic along with Rose. In addition, Candy being selected as Offensive MVP, TABC All-Region, TABC All-State Academic, and THSCA All-State. Rose selected for All-District Honorable Mention and Fizz as far as All-District Fizz First Team, and Mackenzie Sessom for Second Team All-District. And whereas the City of Lido recognizes Calissa Severe for her selection to play at the All-Star for TGCA and All-Star Basketball Team for TGCA. And whereas the City Council recognizes the coaches Lori Wilson and the finalists for the TABC Dean Weiss Outstanding Coach Award for her assistants Tammy Tilly and Kaylin Kyle for the Lido Lady Pirates basketball for their involvement and accomplishments with this exceptional team.
All right, so now therefore I, Ruben Gonzalez, by the virtue of the authority invested in me as mayor of the city of Lido, Texas, in recognition therefore I hereby proclaim that the city of Lido, Texas feels this proclamation is in order to recognize the many accomplishments of Lido ISD 2023 Lady Pirates High School basketball team. Ourselves a small token, just be able to say thank you so much. You guys are unbelievable. I mean, it was great seeing the boys, but I tell you, you guys were very just unbelievable. And I know, I still feel it in that heart. I still feel it right there, okay? And it will always be there. But never doubt yourself for what happened. Things that happened, but at the same time, you've actually left your mark without a doubt. I mean, coaches, you guys are just unbelievable. Your determination and be able to get as much as you could from the Lady Pirates was just unbelievable. And we can't commend you enough for everything you've done. The parents that are here Thank you so much. I loved hearing your story. You know, it's hard. They put so much emphasis in about raising you and giving you opportunities, and it's hard. It's hard to be able to see certain things turn out a certain way. But where we're at right now, we love you, okay? We appreciate you like you wouldn't believe, and you guys have definitely left the mark. You know what is the coolest thing? And I have a neighbor that has two girls. Lady, you see them every day? You guys, they're this tall. Those girls are out there practicing every day because of you guys. Every day, they're out there. So thank you for leaving a mark and others, and I know you guys are going to do a great job out there, so we really appreciate it. So we need to scoot in real quick. Here we go, real quick. We're going to take a photo. Somebody's got to giggle.
What's the picture?
We got to giggle. We love you. We love you. We need to make sure we get everybody. There you go. There you go. Take a quick photo. All right, okay, now we're gonna get the parents. Parents, come on up. Come on up. Here we go. Come on up. Come on up.
I'm a big man.
Come on, Case.
Get in there. Make sure, she's gotta be in the front. There we go. Make sure we can see each other. Make sure you can be seen. You got it? All right. Hey, you guys. Thank you. Good to see you. Safe travels. All right. You guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
See you. See you later. Thank you. Appreciate it. Good. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. All right. Thank you, council. Appreciate that. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. Okay, council, let's go ahead and move on to number 6, the consent of the agenda. A, consider approval of the payment of the bills.
So, council, we don't have any, we only have 3, and because this meeting was so late in the month, everything's gonna roll over to the next one. So I was, it was 3 that's not due.
Okay, so we still have some time on that?
Yes.
Okay, so nothing on that one?
To approve for that one.
Okay, can I get a no action?
Make a motion to take no action on that item.
Okay, no action on that item. Got a motion? Do I have a second? Second. Got a second? Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you so much. Appreciate that. All right, at this point, just because we covered some of the important things, department heads, it is totally up to you whether or not you need to stick around for the rest of the meeting. We're going to go ahead and jump into number 7 and the public hearing portion of it. And that's 7A, public hearing for the purpose of considering and taking action on all matters on the agenda for the meeting, including approval of an agreement with the law firm, the Limber, is it Gogan? Did I pronounce it right? Okay. Blair and Sampson LLP as special counsel to perform all legal services necessary to collect delinquent property taxes and authorizing the execution of such agreement. So with that, Paula, if you can go ahead and show, it's 6:49. We're going to go ahead and open the public hearing. See if anybody has any comments. Yes.
I don't know if this is where I'm supposed to speak, but I signed a piece of paper wanting to address the council. Is this the time that I would do that?
Do you remember what the item was, ma'am?
Is it for a water meter?
Yes,
That it's coming up.
It's coming up.
Coming up.
okay.
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
you.
So stand by on that. So you want to give, better sign it. I'll go ahead and take care of that. Okay? Anybody else for the public hearing? Any comments? All right. So Paola, if you can actually show us at 6:50, we're going to go ahead and close the public hearing on there. And please show that we had no comments during that time. Jesse, is that good?
That's fine.
We're good? All right. All right, council, let's go ahead and jump into 8, open session, take action on items discussed. The first one that we have is 8, is consider and act upon water bill adjustment due to a broken meter for property located at 15015 Gate Street, Lytle, Texas. And we would like to go ahead and ask for Ms. Pilgrim to go ahead and come on up and address the council.
I would like to ask if there's anyone from the Public Works Department here, because there's a couple of questions that if I could have gotten a hold of them, I may not have had to come here and waste your time. Is there anyone from Public Works here?
We do have
Yes,
somebody
We have
here.
our public works director here.
Yes.
Okay, good, because,
Can you state what your concern is, just so we
Yes.
have the
I
council
don't know
has
if
an
it's a
idea?
broken meter or not. May I step forward and hand this to you so you can show it to,
Go ahead.
everyone? I have a exorbitant, if you'll just take a look at that and pass it around. That is a picture of my water system in the ground. And it's, you might as well pass this too. This is some dirt that came out of it. It is completely compressed, feel it, with roots and other stuff. It took me 20 minutes to dig that out of my
So
water.
for clarification, is this where, what? is
My
this-
meter's under there somewhere.
The meter is underneath there?
Somewhere. That's why I needed to speak to a waterworks guy, because I don't know. I was told some people in Lyle have new ones, new meters, and some people still have old ones. Some have to be read by eyes, some can be read electronically. I don't know which one I have. That was my question for the waterworks people. If it has to be visually done, then I have a problem. If it can be done digitally, then maybe there's not.
The boxes, and can we get that to James? So the boxes normally for a water meter are kind of like square or rectangular shaped. Those are the boxes that they normally use to be able to put the meters, whether it's electronic or if it's the manual one. So that one looks like it's something different. James?
Doesn't look like one of our meter boxes.
So,
I can't tell.
okay, then at this point, I'm gonna say I don't have anything else to say because I wasn't sure. I thought
Have
this
you-
was my water meter.
Have you had a plumber come out and take a look at that?
No, let me finish, okay.
Yeah.
No, I haven't. But now that I've established that that is not my water thing, what I would like to get in touch with you about, does not have to be here. Again, I'm gonna pass this around to y'all so you can see it. In the last 18 months, I have never gone over the minimum. Or when I say minimum, I have never gone over like 64 gallons, 60, whatever usage 64 means. And in January, that's what's bringing this up. In January, my bill was $180. And when I called the city office and talked to them about it, they said that they would send somebody else out to read the meter again, and I never heard back, so I didn't pay my bill. When I came in January, I guess it was in January, whatever that next thing was, I asked them about it, and they said they didn't remember, and no one recalled, but they would send somebody else out. It probably wouldn't matter, because at this point, it's been so long. And I showed them, and I said, so you're saying it's my word against yours. There's no repercussion for me. And she said, well, I can send them out again. And I said, you just said it wouldn't do any good because so much time has passed at this point. My contention was that if this was my water meter, they couldn't have read it anyway. That was my contention.
Okay.
But I'll just pass this around. What I was going to do is
Mhm.
ask, and I highlighted it, you'll see where I haven't used, I think the most I've used is 79 in the usage, and that was because I had a garden, last year. And I was going to ask, council if they would consider reimbursing me $100 because I have never, ever done that. And I did everything. I put the food coloring in the toilet. I checked everything outside. I told them, I do not have a leak. I do not have a leak. And all of a sudden, mysteriously, it all took care of itself because the next month, I'm back to the exact same thing where I was.
Mhm.
And I don't understand how I could go from 18 months of never having a problem and not having a leak then, but $178 bill. That was my whole contention.
Yes, ma'am. But it sounds like we got a couple of things to actually take a look at. The first is we need to figure out what the source is, where you're actually having a leak and make a determination on that. And then the second one is going back to the building and taking a look. Do you have some?
Counsel, and I think when they're looking something up, I talked to Virginia, I tried to call you now, but I never got a call back from your voicemail. We looked at the bills and the only one we found was in December, so that
Yes.
it correlates to your January bill. There was a high bill and we agreed with that. There was a re-read done at the customer's request. Our guys went out, according to the billing information that I saw. They did look at the meter, there wasn't a leak indicated, and the numbers were in sync with what we had read. It was actually a little higher, so it indicated that the water had moved through that meter. So we're not sure how the water went, where it went, but it passed through our meter, so therefore there's no way by law we could give any kind of discount because the meter passed through the meter and Jessica can tell you we can't give a utility away. So I'm not sure if you had an outside spigot and somebody, I don't know, maybe somebody was stealing what, I don't know. All we can say is based on our records, the water moves through her meter.
Okay, well, see, I didn't know any of that. If I would have, I wouldn't have been
Yes,
here
ma'am.
taking the
Yeah.
tone. I apologize for
No,
that.
that's okay. And I tried to call you, we actually looked up your number in our billing system and left you a voicemail, I just never got a call back.
So,
And I apologize, but
That's okay.
so why don't we do this? Council, do you have any questions?
Hang on one second, Ms. Coburn, we did send you, there was 2 work orders that were out there. And James and one of his crew did go out on 11/16 and check the meter. And then I see that you called again and Virginia had James go out there again and check it on 12/9. Just to make sure, just to read the meter, make sure it wasn't spinning. So we did have 2 different visitors come out and make sure.
okay, and I just didn't know that.
That's okay. That's
And I work for the school, so I can't answer my phone during the day.
okay. No, no,
But I did come by your guys' the office
Yes,
and
ma'am.
never did catch anybody at the office.
Council, do you have any questions? Or
I
anything?
think I had the same problem that you did. Because my bill jumped up real high and I did read it again, but unfortunately, I think I had a leak inside my shower. Because I had to get a plumber to come fix it after that.
But see, that, my concern is that there was no leak, there wasn't anything, because the next month, my bill went right back to being the same. There was no plumber there. Maybe somebody stole it, like you said.
That's in looking at it all, in
Don't know.
history,
Don't
yes
know.
and then, I'd probably say maybe somebody opened your water hose, stick it outside, and maybe was stealing some water, I don't know.
That makes more sense than anything else, because I do not have, I've had leaks before, well, I've looked up under my house, it looked like a swimming pool. But I looked everywhere and there was nothing, that's the only reason I'm here. I'm
So-
scared to death to be in front of people.
So,
to
man,
talk.
can we look at this individually or just,
We can, I can send James them out again, but everything on our end is checked out normal.
where is that picture you showed us? Where is that located in? Is it in the front, in the very
No,
front?
It's located in my backyard up against the back fence. I don't know which part of the fence you would say,
We can,
but it's just right in the back towards my back
Okay.
fence.
we'll create a work order tomorrow and have Public Works go physically look at your meter and get us a picture
Well,
of it.
let me ask you this question, where is my meter?
I don't know on that one.
Is it outside the fence? Cause there ain't nothing inside the fence.
That would be my question. Is there a time where you can meet with the city and when they come out, you can actually let them show you where it's at?
Yeah, cause I don't know where it's at to read it myself.
Let me go with her now and show her.
And it's not
Yeah.
inside my fence and it's not on my
Okay,
property,
there you
so
go.
Can we get with
I don't know who else
the-
has
Well, he's volunteering to go with you right now.
Sure,
Is that good?
That's great.
Okay, and at least we can be able to identify that and take care of that. That would be great.
That, the picture you showed us, looks like if it's inside your fence, it may be just a manual cutoff
between meter and your house. I have one of those in my front yard,
It could be.
and that seems like it had a lot of water in it and mud.
Well, that was because of me when I was trying to dig
Oh,
this
okay.
thing out.
Yeah.
There was so much water.
James can
generated.
look at it, show him that thing too. when you
Oh,
get to it.
when I get there, yeah.
Okay.
But,
All right.
I'm glad the waterworks people were here so we could.
Yes, ma'am.
Those are half my questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there like, like on mine, I had a complaint, and so the
And-
my meter, they haven't cleaned it out after everything.
Oh, every once in a while I clean it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Good.
once I know
Okay.
where it's at, then I can maybe start keeping up with it myself, but I couldn't. I thought that was my reader and I couldn't read it.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
If I couldn't read it, neither could
Yeah.
y'all.
Well, they'll take care of you, okay?
Okay.
So with that in mind, council, can I go ahead and, oh, are you pointed at?
No, we're, seeing this, Mike.
No, that's all.
Okay. Yeah, and with that in mind, can I go ahead and get a motion for us to take no action on this? Okay, got a motion? Got a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, James. Appreciate that. All right. Okay, council, let's go ahead and move on to B, consider and act upon resolution number 23-04, authorizing the imposition of 15% penalty for collection costs on delinquent city property tax accounts for tax year 2022 and subsequent tax years. Matt?
Council, before you is an updated resolution after our last meeting, a gentleman with Lineberger watched the meeting and was willing to reduce, well, I take it back. They're willing to do our tax collection for less, and they drafted a new resolution where the maximum that anyone could collect by city is 15%. So that's, we're just reducing the maximum allowed from 20 down to 15.
Okay. And do we have anything on, so it's 15%, they were listening in, and,
Yeah, I've got their contract next. This is just the resolution where the council says this is a max we will allow anyone that's gonna collect the delinquent taxes to collect that. Can't be any more than 15%.
So we've been at what percent? before?
We've been at 20, and we did some
How long have we
research.
been at that?
We did some research internally, and I've got a draft in there. It goes with the next one, and I can pass it out real quick. So I'm gonna pass out the previous delinquent tax collection contract we had, along with some data we were able to find. I had one of the girls up front pull me up some data on past accounts that we had. And it looked like since 1983, I think there's some talk about when the rate increased. I think in 1983, it went up to 20% allowed. So you can see on the very last page, I think in 1993, according to the figures I was able to pull from the tax computer, the attorney fee was set at 20% since 1993. There's, if you go further down in 16, 17, and 18, that percentage was lower, but all the others averaged at 20%.
okay. So our citizens were actually being charged more.
Yeah, they were being charged at the max of 20%, yes.
Okay. Okay.
And that was, I guess, an agreement between the Lagos City.
Yes, sir, had that, yeah, in those contract years.
Okay. That was our previous contract with Tom Kate, their attorney. Okay.
And I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 23-4, authorizing the imposition of a 15% penalty for collections costs on delinquent city property taxes accounts for tax year 2022 and subsequent tax years.
Got a motion on the floor? Okay, got a second? Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Let's go ahead and move on to C. Consider an act upon authorizing contract Lineberger, Gogan, Blair, and Sampson LLP for delinquent property tax collection services.
So council, we need to enter into a new contract with the delinquent tax attorney. Everything that I've heard from the council moving forward with transferring our taxes to Atchison County was to stick with the same firm that does it for them. And that is this firm right here. Again, they watched our last council meeting. They agreed with Mr. Kate in trying to help our residents in reducing that percentage. And they've agreed to collect the 15%, which is what they collect the other entities in Atchison County as well. So that's what you have before you tonight, Mr. Gentleman.
Yeah, Mr. Garcia, thank you for joining us here, sir. Appreciate it. So you guys handle pretty much Atascosa's delinquent
That's
tax?
correct. We represent all the entities that are collected out of Atascosa County Tax Office. City of Lyle would be the next one. And we look forward if the council agrees to authorize this contract to represent the city of Lyle and in the collection of illegal property taxes and treating as taxpayers with the utmost fairness and respect.
We appreciate it, sir. And thank you for listening in. You know, you didn't even make a phone call and you reached out.
We're
You-
pretty active, you'll find out. We
Yes, sir.
Quite often, and we get involved with our communities. And we're part of our communities, and we're very involved.
Well, I appreciate it. That's what our citizens deserve. So,
From the San Antonio office?
I am, so my name is Jeff Garcia, I'm one of the partners with the law firm, I'm out of our San Antonio office. I also manage sort of what we call the regional areas outside of Bear County with Mr. Rocha. I personally handle the counties to the east, I live in Wilson County and work there. I also handle Karnes and Guadalupe County. So there's 3 lawyers that we handle out of Line Barter, all the counties surrounding Bear County, out to Del Rio, down to Eagle Pass, and so that's what we do out of San Antonio.
All right, be sure you go local.
You bet.
all right. All right.
Can we get an explanation on what collection means?
As far as property taxes,
So I understand that if once the taxpayer becomes delinquent, you can try to get money from that tax collector. But we all know a lot of times they don't get paid. So your firm does not get money on years where they do not pay their delinquency.
correct. So if you can imagine, your current tax office, which is gonna be the Atascosa County Tax Office, their job is every year send out the tax bills roughly in October, right? And then their job is to collect on that tax bill all the way through the following year, up until the end of June. And July 1st is when those accounts that still haven't gotten paid get turned over to the law firm for collection. Now, out of all of those accounts, our first job as a tax collector is to get in contact with the taxpayer. Now, what do we mean by that? Our one goal is to reach out to the taxpayers. But when we reach out, we're advising them of their delinquency with the county and with the city, for example. In doing so, we may be advising or giving information to the taxpayer that they may be entitled to exemptions that may afford them a tax bill that is totally different. So there's multiple ways of resolving tax accounts, not so much collecting. But at the end of the day, if you have a business that went out of business and didn't pay their property taxes, we will go all the way through the collection process, even file a lawsuit on it, and perhaps get a judgment on that business. But if nobody's there to pay, essentially that is a uncollectible account and never, so our goal is to try to get to 100% collections. We'll get up to 99.8, for example. But that is always our goal every year, is to get you as close as possible to 100%.
So your firm doesn't get money when taxes aren't paid, obviously.
Correct. So it's a contingent fee basis. That's why there's 3 different items on the agenda tonight. The legislature created those agenda items whenever there's a contingent fee. In other words, we don't get paid unless we collect the taxes for you.
Now, you did all the legwork in the years that we have the contract. And what happens when taxes are collected after your contract, let's say by another firm? Your firm doesn't get any part of that?
So moving forward today, if you approve of the contract, as long as we have an active contract in place, we pull data files from the tax office monthly. And as we're working those and we get the tax collected, we do get paid.
So any taxes you collect, you'll get the.
Correct.
Oh,
So if, let's say 10 years down the road, you decide, to go with a different collection firm, well, then at that point, there'll be a wrap up, and then whatever the new term comes into place with a different firm, then they continue to start collecting on that. But whatever's unpaid, we go back 20 years when it goes to real property, and that's how we get paid.
I only have one additional item. I don't know if you're the person that asked, but we were talking about the 3% discount on early payments.
The Atascosa County does not offer that.
Is there a way the city can implement such savings?
I don't believe so. We're gonna hand it over to the county, and that was part of the
Yeah,
contract.
that was one of the things
So
that they.
then our citizens are not gonna be able to reap benefits of paying their,
No, sir, not the 3, 2, or 1 rule that we currently have.
that's not. I mean, that was one thing that I always took advantage of as a taxpayer.
Couple questions, Mr. Garcia. Talk about uncollectible taxes. What's the firm's policy on striking off real property that's in excess of 20 years, or personal property that's greater than 40 years? say, an old mobile home that's been relocated, you know, what are the steps to get that off of our tax rolls?
So correct me if I'm mistaken, but I believe your question is aiming towards what's considered statute of limitations as far as 2010, correct?
Well, I mean, if you find in your research, right, you see I have an account that's delinquent, whatever amount is owed, but that property is deemed uncollectible, what is the process that y'all go through in order to get that off of showing them that that's money out there, I suppose?
Okay, that's a great question, actually. So anytime, because that amount that shows due on your tax rolls is actually, you know, it's a receivable out there, right? It's owed to the city. So what we do in conjunction is we work with our clients. So we will meet one-on-one with Mr. Gear, for example, and the city staff. We also will provide monthly collection reports to the city. In doing so and speaking with the client, we will basically offer advice as to what are your options under the tax code. And if we've gone to court and we've taken a judgment on this property, basically any judgment can be abstracted for up to 10 years on a business personal property account, right? So that will follow that business for all those years, just in case, you know, they come back into business or they may sell property further down the road somewhere. In some way, that abstracted judgment will come back and be collected upon. Now, if we're talking about accounts outside of that 10 years of abstracting into the business, then obviously in conjunction with visiting with our client as your lawyer, we will move forward to perhaps ask the county tax office to remove that so that it's uncollectible, right? Real property, we don't do that because by statute, all the real property years go back 20 years, for example. So that rate doesn't come up on real property because real property will sell at a tax sale.
And I know you spoke about working with the city, and I know you said, you know, Dave's question was that if you're local, right, familiar with the area. I had a question about a judgment that was taken on a piece of property in Lytle on behalf of the county, Pilgrim Lake. And that property, you know, the state it's an earthen dam that's out there. And to remediate that dam is gonna cost the county quite a bit of money, right? So it's a big liability on the north side of town. What can be done to prevent any property being struck off to the city, right, that has any environmental or issues of that nature, where it's gonna become a liability on us?
So that's another great question. So anytime you're working as a delinquent tax collection attorney, you have to be aware of your local area, right? And that's where monthly collection reports and having meetings with your staff to be able to know of those situations where perhaps there may be certain property accounts that may have those health and safety issues out there, and perhaps any kind of violations of state law on environmental right. And so it's getting to know those areas and making sure that when you do go to court, that everybody is aware and everybody is made aware of from the client's perspective that should you go to tax sale, that property does not get struck off because there may be issues as far as environmental qualities out there. So it's all about what the client wants. As your lawyer, we basically do what the client advises us to do.
So I guess to follow up on that, you know, I think it would be a good idea. I don't know if it's in the contract or not. Before you know, we take judgments, you know, I think that we're probably more than likely going to proceed with y'all collecting for us these delinquent taxes. That there's a confirmation, you know, with Matt, whoever on the city staff to assist in that, so we don't inherit any unwanted problems.
Absolutely, we'll definitely communicate with the city on that and make sure we don't have those situations pop up.
That's what you normally do already, right?
Right.
Okay. Appreciate that. Okay, any other comments?
One other thing, I know it's gonna be taken care of, but in Article 3 compensation, it still shows 20%. I know that's gonna be taken care of. That'll be, back to 15. Yeah, how do we talk? Like I said, it's probably just.
That is correct. So what we were referring to and our understanding was that there was prior years to 2022 that were collected at 20.
So 22.
So it's
at 20.
It's 15 for 2022 tax year moving forward into the future. Whatever was in the past will remain the same. If it was at 20, for example, from 1993 through 2016, those will remain the same because those were provided for under that resolution. What we're focused and what the contract focuses on is 2022 moving forward, it will be at 15%.
15%.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Council, you need a motion? Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. I move that we enter into a contract with the collection of delinquent property taxes with Linebarger, Goggin, Blair, and Sampson LLP.
Got a motion on the floor?
Second.
Got a second? Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Garcia. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor, council members, thank you so much. We look forward to working with you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on to D. Consider and act upon approval of scope and fee proposals from Kimberly Horn and Associates for phase 2 of sidewalk projects.
So, real quick, council, this is the 2 sidewalks, the one coming up Main Street, actually it's gonna be from Somerset now, all the way up to our intersection, and then one side down to the post office, and then down McDonald Street is what we're looking for. We need to move on to phase 2, it's gonna require some more work, more in-depth work, so just like in the last projects, we reached out to Kimberly Horn, the experts that are used to working on these, and asked them to give us a proposal. That fee right there you see is $32,500 for both of them, or a fee up to that. Talking with finance, they see if there's money available in some other line items. When we do budget amendments, we can budget amendment that into the line item for engineering. But I've got Kimberly Horn here if you have questions on that proposal.
Good evening, council. Good to see you again. Chris Lira. I'm with Kinley Horn and Associates. I live and work in Bear County, San Antonio office. We've been doing work with y'all for quite a while. We're helping you do your drainage studies, do your traffic impact analysis reviews, and we're here to help you out with this tech stop. Transportation Alternatives Plan, the TA application. So for all future reference, it's much easier to say TA, Transportation Alternatives. So that's what we're here to talk about today.
So this amount is for both applications?
Yes, sir. So it's a lump sum fee to do both projects. So the sidewalk on Main from Somerset to McDonald, like you said, and then the sidewalk all the way from Main down McDonald to 35.
Just so, I guess to be clear on this, if, say we aren't awarded this grant money, is there any timeline on us reusing this work that's done? So if we, 2 years from now, it's open back up again, can we reuse these work that y'all would do for a new application?
It's a great question. So as far as I understand, the application work will stand until it's approved. The only things that would need to be updated would be obviously timeline related items, as they would have expired. If they weren't chosen this year and you want to do something next year, all those dates would have to be updated. But the engineering work that's done on this stage, which for this application is kind of akin to a 30% design submittal. So that level of engineering work would stand into the future, such that if this was not approved now, a lot of it would stand to be reused in a subsequent submittal. And I think we would be able to learn from maybe why it isn't approved. If that happens, we could take and amend the application and go from there. So in your case, there would be a lot that could be reused, but obviously we would learn from maybe why it wasn't approved and make those edits at that time.
So the 32.5 up to 32.5 is for the 2 projects.
Correct. It's the labor and the engineering and the package submittal for both projects. That's correct.
And follow on with Mr. Gate, if these aren't approved this year, we're able to reuse some of it, will we be charged for the additional work that you do 1, 2, 3 years down the road?
So at this time, I don't know that answer. That would be an entirely new contract. This is for the submittal of the 2023 Transportation Alternatives submission. So when we finish that work, we submit the packet, the city will own all that work. You're paying for it, you will own it. So if in the event this application is not approved, we would then work to find a solution to find a way to upgrade that or amend it and then resubmit it. So my initial thought would be that it would not be as much as this packet presentation is to you now, because so much of that would be able to be reused.
We'd be billed for whatever work it took to get us ready for the second.
Just to update it.
Right.
Yes, it would be an entirely new contract. I would assume for a smaller amount to make those adjustments and resubmit.
I just wanted to That's the question.
If I could remind council, if we are approved, we qualify for 100% coverage of that. So really, this would be, if we get approved, this is our only cost. The state would cover everything else with the grant.
That's correct.
Is there any way the grant could cover this?
Never.
That's just.
No, this is just part of us we're still applying, so we have to spend this money to get into the phase 2.
Well, the last project that we were awarded, remind me how much grant money were we awarded in that?
1.5, I believe, right in there, 1.5 million. This stands to be pretty close to that, maybe a little more because we're doing a wider sidewalk. And remember the last one, it was 1.5 and we had to give $380,000-ish too.
Just 383.
Yeah. We could do this, if we could get another 1.5 million in sidewalks for 32.5 is a pretty good deal to me. And we can work from there. We got some hiccups we have to look at with the 12-inch water main extension and some water projects, but we'll work with them and TRC on adjustments in places.
And even if we were awarded these grant monies, that we're looking at 3-4 year kind of line before these projects even started, right? I mean, they've done surveying.
They've done so currently on the ones we got awarded last time, they've done surveying, they're doing location of utilities now, and they'll let it in, I believe, October. And it's gonna be fast tracked after that, but.
That's the one by the school.
Yes, sir. If you notice, they got a bunch of, survey stakes up, and they're moving on it now.
So that was basically 2 years since the award of that money that they'd start on it. So similar timeline, Chris, that they're gonna announce it in September, in the fall, October, or whatever.
Yeah, this application process is a part of the same program of grant money that the first project we helped y'all with was a part of. So it's my understanding the timeline should be very similar.
What did we pay for that first detail application? Do you know?
I don't remember that one. I looked that one up.
I mean, I want to say that it was in the neighborhood of the same amount for one
So
application.
I want to say it was somewhere in there, but I can't swear to it.
Yeah, I feel like it's a bargain.
I don't have that number in front of me for council.
I think on the last sheet I had it separated on there.
You see that?
What year was it?
I think we were awarded in October of 2021.
21, I was thinking 21.
But I would say it was like March, April maybe that we approved Kimberly Warren doing the detail for us. So March, April 2021.
No, I don't have that number in front of me, but I can get it to you guys.
I would say it's probably roughly the same because we're doing pretty close to the same amount of work. We're just doing it in 2 locations versus 1. So it's probably pretty close.
Mayor, while you're looking up the numbers, I'd like to make a motion for the approval of scope of fee proposed from Kimberly Horn and Associates for phase 2 sidewalk project.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion?
I just think it's worth adding that, from Kimberly Horn's work on the last application, it's going to much needed asset to the community. I mean, we see the water that we receive, whatever, not even 2 inches of rain, and our bar ditches around the school, they're filled with water. So, the project that's gonna get going here shortly, it's gonna keep kids out of the mud. And of course, the rest of the town needs the same stuff throughout it. So I feel like it's gonna be something that's beneficial for the next, 100 years that lives around. Hopefully longer than 100. Yeah.
Definitely make it downtown look nice.
Make it more walkable. For sure.
Yes.
There was 2 of them, Charles. There were 11,450 split on 10/22/2021 and then 7/13/2021. So that's a
So
lot.
22, 20.
Yes,
It was pretty close.
So yeah, so we're getting 2 for,
Extra 15.
yeah. So not even, an extra 10,000, we're getting another application that we can review, so. I think it's great.
Any further discussion? Thanks, Lynette. Appreciate those numbers. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you so
Good job,
much.
guys.
Appreciate it. Thanks for all these help. All right, let's go ahead and move on. E, consider and act upon
approval of city's 2023 travel and meal per diem rates.
So council, you know, in all the years of working here, our per diem rate has been at that $34 per day, and it's broke down into 9, 13, and 15, however it was, I think. There's several ways you can go about determining per diems. There's the, what you see in front of you right there, the US GSA website. And then the last page I printed off came from the Texas Federal Pay website. We're trying to say, keep it even, because the money's still gonna come out of the same pot of money we've got in training. So we tried to, talking to the department heads in here locally, we felt $60 a day, $20 per meal, 20 for breakfast, lunch, and dinner is sufficient to feed somebody if they were gone for the full day. And you can see in the San Antonio area on page 2 of that first one, when you look at 64, which you guys, they put a $5, it's like, I don't know, $15, we're right in the ballpark. If a guy goes off to training and he's going to San Antonio and he's only gone 8 to 5, he doesn't get a full meal pay. He gets a lunch is what he gets. So that'd be a $20 check for lunch that day. So we're looking at something that makes it easy and simple and makes it affordable for the guy to be able to eat and not have to put his own money out when he's going to training.
So we've been paying $34 for how long?
I worked here 20 years.
Well, when I started in '99, it was $5. $5 for lunch, $5 for breakfast, and $5.
Hey Luke,
for
what do you
dinner.
think of your dad getting $5 for lunch? Would be nice.
You gotta maintain this body. You're not gonna maintain this body on $15 a day.
Did you ever miss a meal though?
But I will tell you, that was really just money we got. It honestly, even 23 years ago, it cost more than that to eat. But, you know, the way I looked at it, it was supplemental. It was better than nothing. Now, recently, David Lopez and I were in Fort Worth. We had to stay downtown, which is just where the conference happened to be. You can't eat, you know, you've got to get in the car and drive out to eat somewhere. I thought I was doing good. We drove out, ate at the Waffle House. We came back, the city garage had changed to event parking, so I had to pay $18 more to get back in the garage. So it backfired on me. But yes, Matt, we've been talking about this for years. But the key is, again, only if you're, you know, like most of our classes local, the guys are getting lunch. You know, they're not, you know.
I said, it doesn't cost the city anything extra. It already comes out of their training budgets.
So you're looking at $60 per day?
Yeah,
that's what you're asking?
20 per meal, $60 total a day.
What did we pay out last year for meals for training or conferences?
We did not break that out, Mr. Dave, that I have just now started doing that to track that. I have absolutely no idea. I'd have to go back and check through check.
Yeah, what it was paid just came out of the training.
Yeah, I can tell you, Charles, I mean, we paid out probably, based on conferences, we probably paid out a total of, like when we went to the fire marshal conference, that was like $112. So those 4 of us went down there for that. We probably paid out $800-900 last year. Depends on where your conferences are.
I mean, I guess that's my concern. I mean, I think that 20 is probably a good amount. I mean, I'm just trying to think of a meal. You know, last night I had a meal, it's $20, so I think 20 is a good figure. But I guess my concern is, you know, what happens if you go out of state, right? What happens if you got to go to a national thing?
Well,
I was just looking it up. I was looking up the GSA website earlier, and of course, we have a low cost of living in Texas. But if you got to go someplace else and it's $75 a day, then you're still coming out of pocket. I feel like this is a good barometer, GSA, to establish those fees in the event that you go to a higher price locale.
We do have some, you know, I've gone to Chicago, Philadelphia, Phoenix. I don't know. So then the council could pass, I mean, and that's normally that's not a trip, that's kind of something I combine in with a family vacation, so I get the meal allowance while I'm there that day, you know, I'm gone for 2 days in training. But maybe you could do the in-state, the amount we're suggesting, and if we're going out of state, you could adopt that we use some sort of standardized. That's not very common, but we do occasionally go out of state. That way you would cover that if you're concerned about expenses out of state.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good amount for Texas, but elsewhere, you know, in my experience in traveling with the military, you know, I've gone to some locations that are outrageous. You know, hey, you're still even the per diem doesn't cover it sort of deal. I would like for us to have some data backing, awarding this, because it's gonna change every year, right? So $20 might be good for now, but what about 2 years from now? And that's part of the problem that we found ourselves in, is that, hey, we're using data from 1990, right? $34, what, next year it's gonna go up 62. I mean, can we do that into the budget? It's like, hey, we're gonna base it off of something other than just.
The first question I got is how many of our department heads go out of state?
I mean, we probably got the only one, this is very, very, very seldom, and here's what we get down to on that. Our officers appreciate being able to go to training, mostly in-state. I think Matt and David, they went to Florida, and you're not gonna eat for it on what, but here's where it comes down to. Our officers, obviously, we don't have to be so excessive that the officers can't attend the training because we're worried about per diem being such a large part of the budget. As a policeman, we gladly, we're gonna be, the bottom line is we're probably gonna be buying food whether we're here or somewhere else. We eat out way too much, anyway. So we're just trying to find something to where you're not, like when we went down to Pasadena, I mean, you got to eat, you're just not gonna be able to eat dinner for, stuff just got more expensive. So we're looking for something. We went for the $34 we had for over 20 years. And, I never had anybody complaining about it. It's not a complaint issue. So if we could get to the 20, that would probably hold us for a long
I
time.
think a lot of our people are happy they're getting the training.
Yes.
They understand in exchange, you might have to pay $1 or $2 towards your meal. It's however we want to move forward. We're just trying to do something to help
We
cover
can
a little
also
more.
write something in that they're in a special situation, like Mr. Kate's talking about. They can call in and talk to Matt or I and get like an approval for more. I mean,
Okay.
right?
That's
Part of the council.
the other two questions I had on this item were, how are expense reports currently handled?
They're really not. So what will happen is, it's not like other companies where it's turned in like that. Because they're getting just cash for it. So, Rich will come in and say, okay, David and I need to go to a training, and he'll come in and say, I need per diem for this month, and then we are giving them the money for the per diem. So I'm not really getting receipt back.
Yeah, for example, right now, David's in school in Bernie in a leadership course. He's in week 2 of a 3-week course spread over several months. I get with Lynette beforehand, and I say, Lynette, David's gonna be in Bernie for the next, this week. I'm requesting he receive 5 noon meal allowances. And she gets that, and then she cuts a check to David for $50. And that's what he.
But there's no tracking after that. The officer doesn't turn in receipts.
How is lodging handled? Do they give you a discounted rate? Do they give you a local government rate? for
When
lodging?
we can, so if we're lodging, it totally depends.
It depends. So
Yeah.
one of the trainings I'm gonna go to, the provider has already blocked out a lot of rooms at a discounted rate, so we join in on that. Outside of that, we don't get a discounted rate on rooms. The city covers that though. There is no extra cost to the employee for that.
So Mr. Tate, you have a good point on that. So question, I just don't want to lose a thought. When we've been audited, have they ever come back and asked us that we
We
need?
should have those receipts to back that check out to the city. We have not had enough receipts that those checks have been pulled at random, but I should be able to back those charges. Yes,
Roger
sir.
that.
So, keeping in that thought, Mayor, can we develop a process for handling travel vouchers? Can we implement that so, more accountable and for getting your guys a discounted rate for rooms?
Well, that we do the best we can with rooms. I mean, I've been reserving rooms forever. We always try, we stay in Pasadena at places like $69 a night and bump 2 people to a room.
Well, what I'm saying though is that there's probably some accommodations, right? If we can negotiate that, like say military rate,
You
right?
got your
State
first
government,
responder rate.
state government rate where you're not having to stay at Motel 6 or the
Well-
cheapest room possible. You can stay at a nice
So
hotel with
we do,
that authorized rate.
We do, but I mean, our training is so hit and miss where it is, that, it's like if we had training in the town like Lila, I mean, this place over here is only gonna have so much. I mean, we find the cheapest rate. If it's like a conference, we try to get the block room. And in Austin, if you can't get the block rooms, it goes from $150 a night to $400 a night. So we don't stay there. I'm not gonna pay $400 a night, to bunk in Austin. I'll drive a few 5 miles. I mean, because I'm a taxpayer, I want good use of taxpayer money too.
So let's do this. Very valid point, Charles. and I think we definitely need to look at that and bring it back in front of the council, come up with something. But for right now, let's go ahead and concentrate on the approval of the per diem. Let's just focus on the per diem portion, and then we'll come back at a later time and look at the rest of the travel, and how do we track it? How do we take advantage of, just like Charles was saying, of opportunities to make sure that we're being resourceful with those. So,
So Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for the approval of city 2023 travel and meal per diem rate set at $60.
to set it for $60
Yes.
and
And my breakdown was 15, 15, and 30. I think $30 is reasonable to pay for each meal.
Is that what we want to say? It's up to council, because it's, depending
Well,
on
the
how they
breakdown
go, we have to
doesn't need
set.
to be there. My proposal is for $60 a deal.
But we don't always pay per day. If, like David's just gone, he just
Oh,
gets
so you would
lunches.
need,
So we
okay,
need
so
that breakdown, that's why I did.
then I would put it in there for $20 per meal.
$20 per meal.
Yes.
Okay, got a motion on the floor for 60 total, $20 per meal.
Do we need to amend that, for, like it has here, first and last day of travel?
We take into account for that. So if a guy was leaving tonight and he started training tomorrow and he's there tonight, he's gonna get a meal per diem for tonight.
That's
And
where
then-
the breakdown of the
Yeah,
$20.
we would break, that's where you break it down, say, okay, you
So
get a lunch and a dinner
Michael's,
today.
motion covers it, I'll second.
Yes.
Okay, have a second. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you, council, appreciate that, and definitely, we'll just come back with cut the other portion of it. And thanks, Lynette, appreciate the feedback. Thanks, Chris, appreciate it.
See you guys, thank you.
Okay, F, let's go ahead and keep going, we're still doing good. F, discuss and act upon establishment of a city online message board on the city's website in accordance with Texas Government Code 551.006 for members of the governmental body to communicate or exchange information about public businesses or public policy.
I'll let Mr. Tate take it. So I think I may have maybe misinterpreted what he was looking for, so I'll let him.
Thanks, Matt. So, this is, another one of those items, that the state legislature, they passed this, I guess, in 2012. And, it's, basically, the summary of it, I have Jesse look it over and set me straight, maybe. But it allows us, to not be in violation of the Texas Open Meetings Act and to discuss items, city business, that the public can see. So, I mean, basically what it boils down to is a transparent government, able to kind of go into more in-depth conversations. Say, for example, the per diem thing. We don't want to spend all night talking about that, but it's a forum where we can share ideas, thoughts. The public can see that. They would not be able to comment, but the elected officials and the city staff would be able to. So we're able to operate in a transparent manner. It's just kind of keeping up with the times, we're in the 21st century. And message boards, they've been around for, 40 years now. So it would allow us to talk about stuff over the weekend leading up to a meeting. And ideally, like I was talking with Michael briefly, kind of cut down on the conversations that we have as council during the meetings as well.
Okay, that's different than what we had. So currently what we had was a blog. So I misunderstood what you were saying. My interpretation when I talked to Bridget was like, a council meeting could say, hey, put this out. Like all the rename uses one. And hey, this is what we've done in the city. This is what I'm doing kind of thing. And it can be seen 24/7. I understand now it'd be something like the agenda gets posted on Friday. Alderman can say, hey, what do y'all think? We're looking at the sidewalk project. It'd be a great thing. 32.5 is not bad at all. And then Alderman would jump in. Yeah, that's a great idea. I think it'd be great. Maybe Sam jumps in. Well, I'm not sure we want to spend. Is that kind of like what we're talking about? But that wouldn't be a violation of the Open Meetings Act, right? Or what?
Correct. That the local government code carves out a specific, it has to be on the city's website. It has to be posted 24/7. It's only the conversation, people can post on it is limited specifically to the city council and certain designated city staff. So, for example, the council could designate certain employees, city employees, they would be allowed to comment on it. The public would not be allowed to comment on it, so they couldn't participate in that debate, or any of those discussions, but they could certainly see it on. So it'd be kind of like watching a stream of the council discussion during a regular.
They could see it and then communicate directly with their own.
Of course, they always contact all of you directly, correct, as well as the city staff.
So we want to be careful, and it's just for my own knowledge. If a councilman, Charles says, man, that's a great idea, I think we should do it, let's vote for it Monday night. And all, yeah, I got you, I'll be your second,
Right,
we
you should not vote.
Yeah, I know, but you should maybe caution away from me and just say, this is why it's a good idea, and never talk about, I'll support you or something.
Most of our cities don't do this, for a variety of reasons, but yes, as you described, that the code doesn't allow the council to vote in those, kind of messaging boards. They're just intended to be comments and discussion about city business. So it could be generally, it could be about agenda items, or it could just be about general things going on in the city, policy, general business. So it isn't specifically limited to the agenda. So in that sense, it is much broader than the council discussion.
From the administrative side, so if we have something like that and somebody puts a comment, is it required that the council respond or somebody respond?
To another council member, no.
So basically that would mean that every council member would have to be checking in on this platform to be, is that correct?
They may want you, they're not required to under the code to do so, but.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're gonna have one, that means that we would ask the council to log in every day, make sure, or just check
And they want to.
if they want to or not, right?
Yes, sir.
Mayor, I think where you could set it up, you could have an email notification, if we post for a particular thread, somebody posts, say Michael posted it, something that we would receive a notification that there's a new post.
I think it's good, but at the same time, I'm just thinking, we're already busy as it is. So I don't want to put more on the council to say you need to check and you need to provide comments on a platform that we would normally have a chance to be able to discuss here among ourselves. I'm not objected to it, but I'm just saying, and I can see it maybe like in some city, like in San Antonio, their council member gets paid, right?
Yes, they do.
They get paid. So,
Per meeting.
I know you guys are busy, so we're all busy. So I'm just saying, I mean, it's important to be able to have a dialogue, but at the same time, I don't want to put the council in a position where they get a notification and they have to go in and check and provide comments. So as long as it's understood that they can participate or not participate, but I don't want the public to understand that, oh, my council member is not responding and be understood that way, because honestly, the council member might be busy. So that's the other side of it. And I did talk to one of my friends about this, and you have to be very careful about it, because sometimes you do cross the line when you put comments out there, in a sense of the dialogue that you put on there. So you have to be very careful about that. But it's up to the council.
Yeah, that would be my question too. How would this be policed? Because we got great gentlemen up here. I'm not questioning these that are sitting here, in front of council now or in council. But I could use this to my advantage and push my political agenda through a message board where the citizens could see it, that, hey, that Michael Rodriguez, man, he's right on it. And then the rest of the board doesn't want to, the rest of the council doesn't want to vote on it or doesn't agree with it. How does this get policed? How do we know if I don't cross the line, if I put something out there that I shouldn't? Does it go through some type of filter and then get released, and is it just something that I can say and then, oops, I shouldn't have said that?
That would be up to the council, but generally, just as in your regular open meetings, there's just general decorum rules, but generally, you don't police each other that way, right? So council members speak freely during council meetings.
Right.
On various issues, but your comments are generally limited to the agenda. So, and that is required of the Texas Open Meeting Act, that particular item, if you're discussing or topic or that you're raising is limited in that way.
Right.
But on the message board,
It's not.
it would not be. So it could be on any particular topic that the council member wanted to assert about anything related to city business. And so the council could try to establish rules in certain ways, along with the message board, they could certainly try to do it that way. But we need to develop that policy in advance and come up with certain rules. It gets a little sticky because obviously, the idea is to have the discussion, to talk about general city business, but that would be against, and then, how would the council then decide whether something was in violation of that rule or whatever, and then there could be disputes among the council as to whether or not the particular posting should be removed or not, so it can get rather messy.
Yeah, I could see supporting this where, let's say for instance, a Padilla. I go and do some research and I found that the city of Poteet does this, and I can put that information out there. I can see that being a positive for this. I don't know which way I would go on that.
I think what it does is removes the chance of a walking forum being conducted talking about items, because I mean, you and I can have a conversation about something, but if I mention it to Sam and somebody catches wind of that, then we're in violation of Texas open meetings. But if we have it online and it's out, it's transparent, it's in the open. And, to the mayor's point, it doesn't have, it's not a requirement, it's just an opportunity to share more information. And I think that if the more information we have, the better off we are as a city.
Jesse and Charles, so your experiences, I know the person I talked to, they had to give that responsibility to somebody in his staff to monitor it. Any examples out there of your sources, how they?
Generally, the only feedback I've gotten is that it was usually the public, the local residents were usually unhappy just because they weren't allowed to comment, to join in that discussion, right? Because the message board is strictly limited to the city council and designated city staff, that they would see discussions going on about city business, but they weren't really able to similarly post messages and engage on that discussion with the board. They could sort of contact the council directly, but that's different than participating in the discussion. So I think that was usually the frustration with that. But function, I've not seen it really used widely. No.
I think the workaround to that, Jesse, is that we have a sticky thread at the top of the message board that says, informs the public that they will not be able to participate, that they can directly contact their council people and even put a district map up. Maybe they don't know who their council people are.
Yeah, no, I think they were aware that they were. They would see the messaging, and it's kind of like what you see online, a lot of council debate. A lot of just message boards or general online social media type comments. They're used to being able to jump in. So there's that frustration, but that may, that your approach may work.
And I think, of course, this got brought up to me, can't even recall who, but examples from surrounding communities that they have Facebook conversations that get out of line. And I think that would be the concern, of course, to limiting that, where people don't really start insulting one another, but it's more for informational purposes. And that's the intent of this, is that we were able to talk about city business policy and not be in violation of the law. I think to Michael's thing, the question was like, well, if somebody is in violation, that would be somebody would have to file a complaint, right? Class C misdemeanor in violation of the Texas Open Meetings Act. So
say if, I'm just gonna throw a hypothetical, and I don't want to take too much time on there, but just say a hypothetical, one of us put something in there, and it's something that the staff is gonna need to go ahead and look. So now we need to make sure that the staff is checking to respond.
I think the workaround of that is to call somebody, hey, we're having a discussion on this topic, if you get the chance to take a look at it.
And say that's the thing. I guess I'm old school, is if there's a discussion about something, I'd rather talk to the individual and say, hey, can you provide me the answer on that?
I don't mind what he's talking about, going in there and responding if you have a question like that. My big concern, and I see it all over the place, is people misunderstanding words or misunderstanding like dedicated funds, funds, and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden they take these words that they think they understand and they run with it in the public. That scares me the most. So I would be really worried about people getting wrong impressions unless we, write it very, very specifically. And even then, sometimes people don't understand that. That's my fear.
My concern as a department head would be is if, depending on who you gave access, or you said, you know, if you said to the department that you've got some issue going, people talking, and then you turn around and say, Chief, we've got this going on, you may want to jump on the message board. The truth is, I've got a 24-hour message board on my phone where people call me, text me, and as the mayor knows, 3, 4 in the morning. I mean, I really, as a department head, I don't know that I'd really want another avenue that I would have to, you know, as it is now. I mean, I got 2 of my kids with me, but they can tell you, I mean, no matter where we are, my job is 24/7 on the phone. So adding to it, and if you want to leave out the department heads, then I'm all for it if y'all want to do it, but I'm, to me, it sounds like it could.
The staff, we work for y'all. Whatever y'all tell us we have to do, we'll do. Again, we've got a lot going on already, so, I mean, we're here for you. You let us know how you want to operate, we'll move in that direction.
I don't think it's gonna create that much additional work, to be honest with you. I mean, it is a full-time job running the city, you're right, I mean, but again, going back to the transparent, you know, transmission of information is gonna make us better as a city. And any avenue that we, you know, can, we need to work on our communication skills and, you know, use better grammar or use the right words, I mean, that's, you know, chief, I mean, we can ban chief from it, we can have somebody else on there.
I support
You know,
that.
we have Richie, you know, keep him off of there.
If you think I'm bad in person, get me on.
I 100% agree with the transparency issue. I think that's everyone on the council. We, you know, I would love to eventually work to where we have financial transparency on our website. There's a webpage designed that, showing money going in, money going out, to everything, right? I think we owe that to the citizens to save money.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. I move that we establish a city online message board on the city's website in accordance with Texas Government Code 551.006 for members of the governmental body to communicate or exchange information about public business or public policy.
Okay, got a motion on the floor? Should I have a second?
Okay.
Okay. Got a second? Okay. Any further discussion?
Would we be willing to cancel this in 6 months, a year or so if it blew up on us, if it didn't work? I mean, we don't know. As Jesse pointed out, it's not widely used.
I mean, that's a question for Jesse. I mean, I guess we go back and remove it if necessary. I don't know what we would have to do in order to take it offline, because I saw something in here that anything that's posted has to be maintained for 6 years.
That's correct. The posting would have to be maintained as a city record, as a city record for that period of time. But the city can elect to close it at any time that they wanted to. I don't know if your question is, did you want to specifically limit it initially?
No. I'm just saying, would there be a mechanism that 6 months or a year, if we just said this isn't working, I guess we'd come back in the council and say, we're gonna stop it. But now here you say for 6 months, those records need to be put somewhere for 6 years.
Correct. They become just public city records, just like the minutes or any other document that the city generates.
So there is a way to close the can of worms. We just have to store the can for 6 years.
Matt, does the website have what's it called?
I don't know. I'd have to reach out to Civic Plus. I know they have a blog feature, and I did do more research because that was my interpretation of it after talking to Mr. Kate. Now I understand more. I'm sure Civic Plus has a solution. I don't know what that cost is, but we'll figure it out.
I'd like to make a comment. Charles, I think you're moving in the right direction. We could benefit from having a system where we could provide information. However, I would have to say that I'm gonna vote no on this, because what I am in fear of is that it's gonna be used to push an agenda, a personal agenda. So the only way that I will be voting yay would be is if we put some kind of guidelines before we release this. We come up with rules, regulations saying, this is what the form is gonna be used for, this is what it can't be used for maybe. So that's just my opinion, I just wanted to put that out there.
I mean, the law clearly states that, you know, no vote, it's, E, and no event shall communication or posting to the online message board or similar internet application be construed to be an action of the governmental body. I mean, it's just gonna be just like we have our, individual opinions here in the council chambers. I mean, it's not the council's opinion, it's Charles or Michael's or Sam or David or the mayor.
But I think what's good about when we hold our opinion in the council, we get immediate feedback. I am able to sit in front of the mayor, in front of you, and voice my opinion, and we can just rewrite in turn. Like I said, I need, on my side, I just need more of a guideline on how we're gonna use this, what's gonna be acceptable, what's not acceptable.
Well, I don't think that, there's anything prohibiting that. I mean, just, in accordance with Texas government code, I mean, we can establish rules for our forum usage, right, that are not in violation of the law, Jesse?
Correct. And so what I understand, Councilman Rodriguez to say is that, you would prefer to have the council adopt specific guidelines for the use of the board, the messaging
Yes.
board, and I guess just general guidelines for the parameters of debate or how topics are introduced to the board and the like, something like that, or?
Yeah, so for example, this forum is gonna be for the council to be able to post information that we need when we sit down. That way we can be more informed when we come to the council meetings. But I don't wanna put restrictions on it, but what I'm saying is that I don't wanna be voicing my opinion on how it is that the same way I'm gonna vote based if I get this, if I get that, or I want this street or I want that street. I don't know if that's making sense.
But to comment on that, Michael, I have no issue with us, setting up some online decorum, and in that way, that's gonna kind of, direct the conversations that we have, because I think the spirit that I'm intending it to be used for is for informational purposes, and not for you to, hey, I want you to vote with me on this.
Right.
I want to give you all the information, and you make your own opinion on it.
But if I put my information out there that's biased and says this is how we should vote, I think I'm trying to influence the council, even though I'm doing that right now. Obviously, my opinion is right now, I'm doing it, but
No, I mean,
if I put it online and then it's pushing my agenda. I just, for the way it stands right now, where it's open book, I'm gonna have to vote.
Well, I mean, I could amend it with the caveat that we establish, online rules of decorum, because as we're gonna get into this next item with the social media pages,
Right.
there's gonna be, online decorum for our employees, so I have no issue with, council adopting something.
That's what I was gonna suggest, Charles, that you amend your motion, that maybe we establish this online board once the council has seen and approved the guidelines or rules for usage.
Is it possible to table your motion and come up with maybe a guideline, a suggested guideline?
I have no issue amending my motion to table. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to amend my original motion, and that we table this until the next regularly scheduled city council meeting, so that we can have some online rules of decorum for our message board, proposed message board. Okay?
And will you? come up
Well,
with
Sam,
some-
you made the second motion, do you want to amend,
Yeah.
so we go ahead and have an amendment?
Yeah, I can look up some stuff. I think we're gonna get into this in the next item, though, David, as far as what, the expectations of our employees, we should not be, above those. If anything, we should have stricter standards for ourselves, so.
Yeah, I agree with Mike. I'd like to see something in writing, give us a little bit of guidance before we just throw it out there. I'm not against it, but just a little bit of control that would make me feel better. So I appreciate your amendment.
Any further discussion? Okay, once again, the motion has been amended for us to go ahead and table it until the next meeting. We establish some sort of rules. The quorum is going to be, put it in writing for us to go ahead and look at. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you, George.
All right, let's see where we're at. Okay, we are right at 8:00 right now. So I think it's gonna be time for us to go ahead and take a break. But before we do that, people go ahead and join me. somebody who's gonna be celebrating their birthday on the 1st of May. And that is Jesse. Jesse's birthday on the 1st of May, so for Jesse, there you go. 1, 2, 3.
Happy birthday to you.
Cha cha cha.
Happy birthday to you.
Cha cha cha.
Happy birthday, dear Jesse. Happy birthday to you.
There you go. All right.
Hey, that
All right,
Luke
let's,
tonight.
it's 8 o'clock, right? Still, it's at 8 o'clock.
Yes.
Take,
All right. Here we go. So let's go ahead and show us back. It's 8:15. Perfect. Let's go ahead and get right back into the council. Let's go ahead and jump right into G. Consider and act upon establishing social media pages for city departments.
So council, this got brought up, I had a young lady that's in school doing projects, and one of her projects was to work with a local, like, library or something and help them create a social media page. So when she reached out to me about the library, I was like, sure, go ahead, I don't mind if Cassandra wants to have a page, let's go. So we're talking about it during the department head meeting, the mayor stated that council had previously taken some action, possibly to say they didn't want social media pages. We do currently have one, and when I say social, I'm talking about an official page, not, Matt Beer's page, or like, and Chief has one, it says Richie Priest, Police Chief Alive. I'm talking about one that says City of Lytle Library Department, or City Hall. Those are the pages I'm talking about. So I'm looking for direction on how council wants to move forward. I don't think we really have any of our department heads super interested in doing this, but we do have a department that has one currently that is really designed to just push information. That's where they're sending information out about events they're having, and stuff like that. So I'm trying to see which way we want it to go. Either we want to allow social media pages or we don't. Because again, it comes back to that legal stuff. If it's a social media page and it's an official page, even if it's mine and I created, the second I say City of Lytle on it, it becomes an official city page and subject to open records and all that, correct, Jesse?
Yes, it does. Many cities have, for disseminating information, traditionally it would have been just a newsletter, a printed little info sheet that you post up and distribute out. Now they have Facebook or social media type pages. Sometimes they'll post those to similarly post the same kinds of things. In fact, it'll often be what might be in a paper or some type of newsletter. They'll instead post the same images and text on the social media page, and they can just put those. No comments are allowed. It's just strictly a one-way communication. And it's just, so in that sense, it's just a way of disseminating information. Some cities set it up that way. Some cities do allow or have comment sections below, and that's where it gets a little stickier because sometimes there you bump into freedom of speech issues because it becomes a social forum, and so then the public can comment, and sometimes they might make comments that many people would find objectionable or repugnant in some way, and so the city is then constrained in terms of limiting free speech in those discussion sections. So it depends on how the council wants to do it. If you want to do it, there are different gradations, right? You can go ahead and just have like a city newsletter and just put that information on the social media type page, or just like you do on your website or you do on your board outside. It's like that. You can extend that onto a social media page. That's one option. Another option would be to open it up a little further and have comments below, that kind of stuff. And that's, if you wouldn't do that, I would suggest that the council consider setting up social media policies for regulating that kind of comment in there. And again, it's a little sticky because you do open the First Amendment type issues.
So I know some of the stuff is for informational, and I know one of the things that we've been trying to get some assistance with, going back to animal care and control, is just being able to get the pets adopted, right? So I know we've done that along with whenever we're giving out Bella's Pantry, giving some of the food that is available, just being able to disseminate. I would assume that with the library would probably be the same thing, letting them know, hey, we're actually having an event, here's the details that go along with the event, or we have this monthly recognition, for this, come check out the books or do something like that, and it's just pushed out.
And that'd be my, if we're gonna move forward with this without having all these people go into specialized training to learn more about social media, Open Meetings Act, all that good stuff, let's say if we're gonna allow them, they're one way. They're just for you to push information out, turn all comments off, and your header says, it's just informational, no comments are allowed. Not, I can approve them, no, it's just zero comments. I think because we all know social media is unfortunately today's side, the best way to get information out in the fastest way. So it would help somewhere like the library promoting stuff going on, book reading, stuff like that. Animal control tremendously in getting out their information on Bella's Pantry, dogs to be adopted, things like that.
And our lot of beautiful events that we have coming up, that'd be great to keep that up.
Yeah, if we decided to move that.
Yeah.
I'm personally, I'm not looking to create one on behalf of the city of Lidle. We've got our website that I use and the board. That's what us here at City Hall use and staff uses to push information.
I have no desire to make one, I'll tell you that.
Anytime we do stuff,
If I have stuff that needs to go out, I text Ruben and say, Ruben, can you log that for me?
That's what I was gonna say.
That's what I should do.
we will reach out. I'll reach out to the two biggest ones we have, which is the chiefs and the mayors. So taking out close to social media.
Most of it is all informational, just sending it out. But comments, I mean, there's a distinction between a personal account for yourself or the chief and one that's city owned. We're looking at the city of Leander right now, and they have a whole write-up that I'm not gonna go into 6 pages, go through, but they have a clear distinction between a city account and a personal account, so. What do we currently have in place in our employee handbook about social media accounts?
Very little.
Very little, yeah. It's bare bones. It more talks about, if I'm on my social media account, to not use it in derogatory ways towards like another employee and stuff like that. Even though, it's some form of free speech, it still comes back to the workplace. If I'm on here, the chief of police in Lidle, he's not doing a great job, I'm just using it in that way.
So what pages do we currently have? I know Chief Reese, you have your newsletter.
The chief is a
that goes
personal
out.
one. The only one that we have that says City of Lidle is out of animal control.
So there is a link that goes to a separate page for animal control?
I don't know, it's one something.
No, it's
No,
not
it's
linked to
not
the
linked to the
website, it's
website.
only on Facebook.
It's only
It's
on
something that's
Facebook,
Tommy
right?
created. to
So
push
we have
information.
no official additional page links off of our site that goes to?
Not that I'm
No.
aware of.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it does say City of Lidle Animal Care and Control. But it's his page, he's in control of it. If he quit tomorrow, he can turn that off. That's something, if we're gonna say City of Lidle, and then something after it, or represent as the city and not, Matt Deere, city administrator, that's different. I could say, maybe that's my page. I'm still governed by rules, but that's my page. But if I say City of Lidle administration, to me, that becomes, if I'm Joe P. Public, to me, that's a city page.
Well, and I think what we see too is, I've had my Twitter since 2014, when the police chiefs, school, that's part of the deal, they made everybody set up a Twitter, and just try to teach people, and I still wouldn't have one had it not been for that. But I think that's what you see a lot of, is they say, well, it's a personal page, all your big police chiefs are gonna have a city page, they're gonna have a personal page, Again, I've never had an issue with mine since 2014, we use it to, occasionally I'll post something personal. A lot of it is really just pushing out information, much like the mayor's. You could probably write a book on what you should and shouldn't do, but none of that's gonna replace common sense,
So Jesse, you're saying if we just stick to no comments, it's just pushing out?
You can, and usually the only sticky part is if you get into comments controlling discussions relating to postings. But the city can post information in social media just like it does on the board outside. You can go ahead and post information on a variety of social
But
media.
you can send stuff out and block comments,
And just, right, whoever owns that.
And that would be okay, getting into
In the safest way.
a
Yes,
big,
correct.
big policy that's drawn up, get everything.
If the city's policy would be to allow the city's social media pages to be used to post information regarding city events and activities that are going on. So it'd be
With
like,
comments turned off.
with the comments turned off and
We just need to figure out on my end, how do we control that owner, that department head who created it leaves. If it's already got a following, how do we retain ownership per se? I know it's not, but how do we control that when that person leaves?
Because with Facebook, there are issues with getting control of a page.
Yeah, because it's linked to an email and stuff.
I can tell you, like at the fire department, the one I created for the fire, I did a different email account, but when I left as chief, I turned all that over to the new chief. But we left on good terms. If I'd left on bad terms, look, that's my page too, proof off. Or I still control it, control the narrative, you know? I think we need to look at that.
So if the council wanted to pursue that particular direction, just like we did earlier on a similar item, we could go ahead and present a proposed policy for the city's social media posting for, you know, and provide that policy proposal to the council, and you can review it and decide if that's something you would do.
I think another question is, who would maintain this thing?
That'd be up to that.
Another job we put on that?
No, that
No,
would be a
it's just-
department.
It'd be that department. They choose to create one, it's their responsibility.
Okay, so it's gonna be department by department. is what you're saying.
If they do create one.
Yeah, so the worst thing you can do is go to a page and have outdated information.
Yes, the
That
last
is
thing
the
posted
absolute worst thing. you can do.
3 years ago. I see that all the time.
So this person that wants to come in and do this for the library, I think that's great, but the question is gonna be, how is it gonna be maintained going forward? So, for example, the golf thing that's gonna be coming up at the library, I would love to be able to go to that page and see pictures from it, and, hey, next year I want attendance. I would like to see all the departments have their own page.
And I'm not saying it's just one way to get information out. They all have access to the website and their pages. They can post anything they want in the website within their departments and tell people, come to our website, it's, you know, this hyphen library or something.
Right.
So we have the way to get out there. It's just unfortunate in today's society, people use social media as their way of getting good, bad, or indifferent. That's where they go.
You know, but the thing is, you know, it has to be maintained, and it's not easy maintaining these pages.
Usually that is a factor, and typically you would want to have a single person operate all of them, or at least be the person who acts as sort of the gatekeeper. Each department would kind of pick and choose, but then you would have one person that would be sort of the quality control and ensure that information gets posted on all of the related department pages
Right.
in some way. And that way you have some continuity so that if somebody leaves that position, then their successor will come in and begin assuming that responsibility, just like they do a variety of city functions, right? So it just becomes another job-related function for the city. But, you know, there can be a relationship between the department heads, the city administrator, the council, how they want that administered. But that all goes into how you want the policy set up.
In all of my training for my position, they talk to me, had people come in, look, cities will hire a media relations person. And that's all they do. They manage the social media accounts, they manage the website, they manage IT stuff, like for meetings. That's what they do, that's their
So I
job.
don't
and
think
they get paid.
the cost for the storage and bandwidth, I don't think that's gonna be a factor. And there's not gonna be any cost related to paying a person to maintain this.
Not if it's a department head. If
Right.
we choose to do something different and hire a position that does that, yeah, there's a big cost. I'm not asking for that. Just baby steps. If we want to do social media.
And I don't think all of our departments are asking for it.
No, they're not.
So.
And this was not coming from the library. It's just, this person approached the library and they said, hey, what if, I don't know, I think Talking Century didn't have Facebook or anything, so I'm not even sure they would go down this route. It was just, it got brought up and it led to a different conversation, and I said, we need to get clear guidance if they are or not allowed. And if they are, how do we want to control that?
So there's a department head to don't want to do that, right?
There's several, I don't want to do one.
Well, the problem when you say social media, if I tell your age group, you're saying Facebook. If I tell my kids, their Instagram, there's about 5 or 6 different ones. And it's gonna be 2 years from now, it's gonna be something different. So it's not.
If you're gonna cross the bridge, you might as well jump full force. If you see on the website, you know, a city, it'll say, you know, City of Live on the bottom, they got their Twitter, their TikTok, their Instagram, their Facebook, their LinkedIn, they got everything.
Yeah, everything. And that's
And that
where-
one person, when he hit the post, is going to all of them. And he's watching all of them and, you know.
So based on Jesse's recommendation, do you guys want to go ahead and table this and for us to maybe come back with some sort of
Or
guidance?
not take any action and tell them if they want social media, just don't list it City of Live.
I would like for this person to go forward, but to bring to the council their page for us to look at. I think we need to see what it is that they had in mind, and I think we all know what we would like.
They're not specifically looking to create one. They're looking to assist when you create the post.
Right.
And it's just for school.
So
So it'd be
contact.
maybe a one-time or two-time thing. And after
Right.
that, they're done.
And that's what I'm asking for, if to get a presentation of content on that, what would be on that page.
Is this a high school student or?
College student, from what I gather.
And they should be able to come up with the content page, example of what it is they want. That should be part of the.
I can have Cassandra reach back out to the
To do a
person and see if
layout.
they're willing to do that. They may say, you know what, no, that doesn't sound like a lot of fun. I'll
Well,
just
Cassandra would have to do the content because
Yeah.
she's, so I mean.
Well, she has to create the page and this person can say, hey, if we created, this is what it could look like.
So,
maybe, or
so council, I still want to go back and I said, we got content is one thing and the other one is whether or not we're gonna allow it. And if it is, what sort of policy is gonna go. Now, we can table that, right? But that's something that, those are the two different things because we can look at the content, but if we don't have something in policy, we're still stuck. So I think we need to, and I don't want us to create more work than what is necessary. But at the same time, I think we need to have parameters to go along with that.
Could we hold it, I mean, if you're talking about department heads, I mean, who wants, if none of the department heads want one, then we're kind of just wasting our time, I guess.
But we know of two that I know
That want
that want them.
Oh, okay, well, I didn't know that's, I wasn't sure, so.
So from what I understand, I mean, honestly,
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure if Cassandra wants one or not. I just know she asked me again about it.
The departments, like say, the animal control or library, they can do similar to what America has. Just
They could, like, I'm
Something from animal control.
So I was gonna use them for
Says here
example.
some
You could
pictures.
change it from City of Lytle Animal Care Control to, like the Chief Santiago Morantes, Director, Lytle Animal Care Control, and that's his page,
Yeah.
right? You gotta be careful because he may still be governed under our policies. If something goes wrong there, he does something wrong. But no different than the chief having a current Twitter right now. If he does something wrong on there and he gets brought up, it could potentially come back.
So our service provider, do they have templates that we could use?
For our website provider,
Mhm.
no, I don't think they involve themselves in any kind of
They
social
don't
media.
have any kind of templates or anything?
Yeah, I know if we take no action on this.
Yeah, I think I'll second that motion.
Not a part of the motion, but if these people want to pursue it, let them come to us and show us what they want.
How do we want to, and Craig, if I can't do this, Jesse, how do we want to address the current page that's out that says City of Lytle on it? Do we want to ask that department head to just rename it? Or allow it to continue going without
Which one is that?
the animal control page?
It says City of what?
yes.
Can you show it to us?
He's already got it up. I'm sorry, thank you.
Well, can you put it on the screen?
I don't think you have a.
I don't, I can try.
We gotta look on Facebook.
Yeah. Again, I want my motion to stand.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute, that's on Facebook.
I think
Yeah, it's on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
It's not our
Yeah,
website.
well, I mean, this is not addressing Facebook or social media
Yeah, that's,
per se. This is for strictly, from my understanding, it's strictly a link from our website to that other page.
I don't
we're
think-
talking about creating a social media page, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, any of them.
I don't
Oh,
think,
we are?
yeah,
That's what we're asking.
I don't think anybody's asked about linking them. It's basically having a platform to be able to like Facebook or something. Is that correct, Matt?
So who gave that permission?
See, the problem with that, look, there's 1.2 followers, like you said, if Santiago resigns or is fired or whatever, he has complete control over that. So then you lose the 1.2
And we-
followers who depend on getting animal.
Yep. So I can tell you, and I will agree that if you don't create it, someone else will. So in the fire department, we didn't have one until one popped up. It was leading ads, but we had to keep posting. That's not an official page, so you gotta be careful. But anybody can do that. So just say it's final, you just post it. It's not an official page, but yeah. And I think mainly in talking to Santi, if we weren't, I wasn't under the impression that we couldn't have one. I don't think Santi was either. Information from the mayor. Oh yeah, he's got a link back to the city's website right there. If you click on that link, it'll take you to their webpage. But it's more about pushing information out, but you can see that they've got comments. I think he moderates the comments, he says, and approves all comments, which I think we're getting touchy on that.
I think you run the risk of violating First Amendment if you're in there. I mean, like I was saying, I was looking at Leander, they have certain criteria if it's vulgar or
Exactly, yes, that's
sexual
my-
nature or whatever, that it can be removed, but it
That's-
can't just be
Right, I
removing it
agree.
because I don't like Tim posting on my page.
Yeah.
So that was my misunderstanding. I thought we were talking about a link directly from our
Oh,
side
no.
to another page.
No, this is
I
actually.
think that's
With that, you could get an example, but when we're talking about Facebook, no,
Yeah.
you set up the account.
Yeah.
So it's going back to what Jesse said in the sense of having it just informational where no comments or anything that goes along with that. I will tell you, in a sense of, just because of that department, there is some benefits of being how they
Oh,
push
yeah.
the information, and just like Charles says, there's 1.2, followers. So they do depend on this. I think we just need to figure out and say who maintains it and what is allowed. Because obviously it is getting used, and I know whether it's for animals that are available, for adoption, or if they're announcing some sort of event, whether it's Bella's Pantry or something else that is being done.
Oh, yeah, I think it's very useful in getting the information out. If we're gonna move forward with the comment section, we need to make sure that we have people that are, understand the concept behind it, what is allowed, not allowed kind of thing. I think if we're gonna move forward, in my opinion, it's one way, we're just pushing information. It says real clear on the main page, no comments are allowed, no, nothing, it's just gonna be for informational items to assist us.
And the maintenance, who maintains it.
Well, yeah, I'm just like, we'll work internally on who maintains it, who retains the ownership of it, no matter what.
Well, you scroll down from that, kind of look at these comments. That, they're nice, but then you start getting into, he looks sad. Not that there was anything bad said about Betty there, but it could be, I think you open yourself up.
Yeah, misconstrued.
Yeah, it's an avenue to be abused, unfortunately, in this day and age, on social media and.
So why don't we do this? Right now, council, we have a motion and second for us to take no action. So that's what we have on the floor right now. If you guys want to change it or leave it, we can put it out for a vote. Or do we want to go ahead and table it, and I'll allow them to go ahead and come up with some sort of guidance for us to relook at this.
I'm willing to change my motion, on this page, again, we need to change the title on it because it's not a city page, so it should be Director of Lido Animal Control, something. That can be his page, and then we need to provide him some guidance or comments.
Or for us to take control of it. I don't know, why he would hold on to it if he wasn't the animal control.
Yeah.
I think it's a good opportunity for us to revise our social media policy. If it's lacking, but to Matt's point about how someone had created a Lido volunteer fire department page and they weren't associated with the fire department, and what's stopping them from creating Lido PD or Lido?
They've done all that stuff.
So how do we prevent, not necessarily to be operating them at this time, but in the event in the future that we want to have somebody run them, then maybe we just have placeholders for our social media accounts.
Okay, well, I amend my motion then, to not, take no action, but to table this until we can pursue some policy that we're going to implement to be presented.
You have a second?
It's tabled, it's gonna come up in the next meeting,
Yes.
Can we
or are we gonna
maybe
do no
postpone
action?
it or until we get the pockets? We're already gonna have the other
Let's
one.
do the no action, and then
Can we-
set it.
Can we table it for a month?
Yeah, we can, you
Yeah,
can
we
put
can
it
set it.
designate
I table it till the end of May,
the second meeting in May.
yeah, second meeting in May.
Okay.
I'll go to second.
Second. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, get that tabled. Thank you, council. Let's go ahead and move on to H, discuss and consider an act upon establishing a utility discount program for elderly and or disabled residents.
That's all I'm reading. I don't have any details on that.
Thanks, Matt. This was brought to my attention actually last year before I deployed. And I'm just, getting around to it now, but it's been brought up several times since then. And in doing some research into this, there's several cities around, I say several, many cities around the state offer some sort of discount or assistance to elderly and or disabled residents because, they live on fixed incomes. There's a caveat though, and Jesse is probably gonna set me straight, that we cannot give away a service for free. So it would need to be, if we went this route, it would need to be a flat rate, whatever, $5, $10, because the woman who really stands out, the increase that was getting her was us jumping our base amount from $12 to $20. Said money's tight, and I don't know if I feel like it's something that of course we should be discussing, because I know that we do have some folks in our community who $10, it means a lot as far as, putting food on the table. So I just wanted to bring it before council and see where we go from here in this matter, or if we go anywhere.
So what flexibility do we have based on guidance?
Well, the city may establish different rates, correct? And so often cities will have, usually based on some type of rate study, establish a variety of different rates. For example, different threshold amounts. There's usually a minimum base rate, and then based on water volume, say for residential rates, they may go up at a slightly different rate as say as the water volume increases, the rate may go higher. And often charge different rates for residential versus commercial, and then often based on the size of the meter, and also whether they're inside or outside. So it comes, Councilor Kate pointed out, the bottom line though is the city cannot charge less than the actual cost of the water, because then that would be an unlawful use of city resources to benefit a private party, which is illegal under the state law. So it had the lowest the city could go for any particular customer would be the amount that it costs the city to actually provide the water itself. So that would be the minimum that it could charge. So it could structure that way, rates in that way. So if they wanted to establish sort of a minimum base rate for a certain population, say, or certain minimum volume, a certain age and classification of people, they could do it that way if they wanted to. But the risk would be that you have to at least break even so that the other ratepayers are not subsidizing that particular method.
So Ken, if I can make a comment, we are currently working with TRWA for a rate study. We're currently gathering information to get to them. It would be my assumption that that study is going to come back that we're still low on our monthly rates, on what we should be. I can talk with them to try to determine, tell me what our cost is to provide that water to that end user during that 0 to 3,000 range. And then we can look at if this is legal, saying, hey, if you qualify for the senior citizen discount where we give you extra time to pay your bill, you can also qualify for a freeze rate at whatever that rate is determined to be. So if you will come in and you'll fill out the paperwork, put the ball back in their court, you're 65 and over, not only can it freeze your rate at what it costs us to provide utility to it, and it will give you a few extra days to pay your bill. Everybody outside of that, we're going to look at different rate structures, and we are looking at everything out there. I think we need to look at residential versus commercial, and then inside versus out like we do now.
So Matt, this is the city of Odessa, and you can look it up whenever you get some free time. But their eligibility requirements for their senior disability residential rate are be at least 65 years of age or show a disability in the same manner as it is used. To show a disability for homestead exemption under Chapter 11, Section 11.13C of the tax code, the city utility account must be in the person's name. The person must reside at the address for the account. Only one residence in our service area is eligible. And the person must file the eligibility contract with the city and show proof of ownership.
I like that. If we're gonna move, I like those rules like that.
So I think that's pretty much generally what every city I've looked at that they have. You have to have your homestead exemption. You have to have over 65 or have disabled. It's not just.
And you have to be the person living there, because we do have, and they'll say, we have some accounts that they're like, oh, that's my grandma's account. She's been on forever or something.
Yeah, no, and it's valid. And the only thing is, we still will need to wait until the study comes back, right?
Yeah,
Figure out
I'll
what
work
the
with
amount is.
TRWA to let's try to figure out what that bare bones cost is for us to provide this utility to that end user, and then go from there. I hope to have all that done really quick, but of course, it comes down to how much information we get to them, how quick. And, well, we're not in any shortage of
How much,
jobs.
how much time are you looking at before we get done on that one?
I couldn't tell you, sir.
I just can't
We're just-
see, and I'm sorry, because I do these numbers all day long, is that between the direct cost and indirect cost of your overhead and burden, your DNA, that we can even establish a 20. I still think we're too low.
If people are having issues going up from 12 to 20,
I know that's
I mean-
what worries me, but what?
I mean, how many of it?
The people either.
I think, of course, for one thing, they gotta apply for it.
Yeah.
As we know, there's people who, I mean, the program might be in place, but they're not gonna apply. I just think if we did go that route, there needs to be some pretty strict criteria, for them to qualify. They have to prove it. I mean, you can't just hand it out, because of course, we have millions of dollars in infrastructure stuff we're trying to
Yes.
do.
Does it say where it caps them at?
It does not say a cap. I wanna say that I called Odessa, and I wanna say the woman I spoke to on the phone said like 5% or something.
Reduction?
5% reduction in total bill. I don't know, I mean,
I
if
think the
you can,
magical thing is we stay at the minimum
Threshold for us to
threshold
buy
of
these.
cost.
And the threshold can change every year, right, based on what it costs us to pump and deliver.
So are we talking direct cost or indirect cost too? Because I mean, you think about it, James, every time he steps out of this building, it's $80. Whether that's his overhead and burden rate. So, that's where my issue, so are we talking about the direct pumpage of what we're bringing in, or is it complete with indirect and direct?
It would have to be at least the cost of the water
Just
itself.
the water
Just
itself?
the water itself. Usually cities have more flexibility on their administrative costs,
Right.
fees, and as we mentioned earlier, cities can allow payment plans over time, so they have some flexibility on all of those. They're not charging interest, those kinds of things. So it's usually, at a minimum, is the actual item itself, the property, the actual water property being given to somebody else. You have to at least recover that amount.
so we would not be able to discount the usage, but we could potentially discount whatever, not $10 off somebody's bill, flat rate. You need to get a set fee. Like you say, you use 10,000 gallons, I mean, that's not the same as somebody who uses 2,000. Maybe your percentage off 10,000, you're saving whatever, $50 is
I
equivalent.
think it would have to be at the rate, right, the established.
Correct, it's usually at the water rate itself plus the add-on. Usually, a lot of cities, what happens is because the cost of water is gonna be more or less stable over time, they usually have some, and because they're factoring in some general administrative costs to at least, generate the bill and mail and get it, process the payments. There's usually some minimum, soft overheads added to that. And so usually there's a base minimal rate that they end up collecting. And that's just to have the meter because they factor in just that whole administrative cost. So again, that goes into a rate study that usually the consultant, they would come up with that base amount. And to the extent that they may offer a discount, Councilmember, maybe that they're electing to waive some of that administrative cost to get slightly below that, but it's not the actual cost of the water itself. That they have to get back.
Our current numbers right now, our GNA and OMB are running around anywhere from 65 to 75%, depending on the department. I mean, it's up there.
So council, just with time and trying to figure out, do you guys feel comfortable? And Charles, great point, definitely we gotta look at. Is this something that maybe we should just go ahead and table maybe
Can we bring this back
for
whenever
4
we have
months?
the rate study done, we're ready to adopt new rates and have it as part of our rate structure?
But we need to figure out the rate,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to. So,
Mayor, I move that we postpone this item until we have the rate study returned to us. And if the city administrator could discuss that with them to see if that's even something to incorporate into our updated rates. I think that would be.
okay, got a motion on the floor?
I'll second that.
Please note that we go out of our way to help everybody.
Well, of course, my thing was that, again, I know that we need all the dollars that we need right now, but it was a concerned citizen who brought it up, and I just wanted to discuss it with the council.
I do very good.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to throw something out there. So when you look at the REAP program in San Antonio, I know that's talking about electricity and that's gonna be a lot higher, but you go at 125% of poverty level, and they break it down by the number of people in the homes. So just a rough example, three-person home, the poverty rate of 125 is $28,787. And the reprogram, they're allowed to withdraw or get a credit of $400 twice. So it's 200 and 200. So the first time they can do it is in the summer, then the second time they can do it is in the fall or winter. They can get the $200 credits.
The
And
government program?
no, it's funded by CPS.
So can we adjust the
And,
bill regularly?
and also
I
it's,
don't think so.
it's by donation. So in the utility, you can actually put how much you want to donate to the.
Oh,
program.
So they're collecting money and then using that money to
But
fund.
1 million of
That's
that
fine.
fund
Okay.
comes directly from CPS. But keep in mind, CPS is owned by the city and they're for profit. Whereas what money we get through our utility, I'm not saying this is bad, but what we get from the utility, we throw back into the system for improvements.
Now, the good thing is that program with CPS is open to all CPS.
Yes.
So our customers here, our residents
Yes,
here,
and they should take
actually
advantage of that.
can take advantage of that CPS program. So it is available.
So when we're going back to our utilities, we're talking about water, sewage, and gas.
Yes.
Right. So I would think that we need to put that federal property level in place, something where we can gauge on, do they qualify? They also do they do 60 years old. Instead of 65, they use the handicap. And if they have medical equipment in their home that, for life support, for example, they can get the discount as well. I don't see where there would be a problem if we could break it down across months or twice a year. But I would like for us to at least put that income level in there.
I can work with legal once we get to that point, what parameters we can put in.
Yes.
And I think that's something that I saw also, the poverty level, something that other cities use, so, I mean, it's a good metric because there are some people over 65 who can't afford to pay, so, it's just to really take a good look, is this something that we can do to help out those who are living in Lyle, who might be a little, less fortunate than some others.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor for us to, motion to table until the rate study is done and then come back to council? All those in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Thank you so much, appreciate it. All right, let's go ahead and keep going on. I update and act upon obtaining city's files from the previous city attorney.
So council, myself and Austin back from the attorney's office went and scheduled an appointment meeting with our previous city attorney and went over there and asked for specific items like the zoning files. We got those and he turned over some older court documents, stuff like that. And we just discussed that he had, 40 some odd years worth of files in his back room over there. Again, said, if y'all are looking for something specific, let me know. I'll see what I've got and I can get it to you. Sometimes it's such a broad shotgun out there, I think Paula did email asking for a certain item, but we never got a response back, right? So when we ended that meeting, it was our interpretation, I cleared this with Austin to make sure he understood the same way, that the previous attorney said that he didn't really want the files anymore, they were taking up too much room, and he was ready to start just releasing those to the city, or I'm sorry, start destroying them. I offered up that in lieu of destroying them, we'd be more than happy to just take possession of them. So some time went by and I reached back out and said, let us know when you're ready and we'll start that transfer process. We can come over, I can pick up some boxes at a time because I know it's time consuming. I got a response back and that's kind of what I put in there, that we misunderstood what he said and that when he was ready to retire, that he would let us know, and if we still wanted the files, we could have them then. So in talking with, I believe it was Austin, again, one of our options is we can just, if we want, we get an estimate to have those files digitized and then work with the previous city attorney and say, hey, we hired a company to digitize all the files you have so we have a complete and true copy of what you got. Let's start the process, and they would come out, the firm or the company would come out and pick up however many boxes, take them back with them, digitize them, get them all stored digitally, and then deliver those hard copies back to them and pick up another batch and just work through it that way. If that's the way the council wants to move. Outside of that, he told me that when he was ready to retire, he could work on those.
So it's the problem that they don't want to invest the man hours in making copies and then transferring those files to the city?
Well, I'm sure they'd be more than happy to start making copies and bill us for it.
But it sounds like you're saying that's not an option.
That's not the option. The day when we left, our understanding, myself and Austin, the attorney, was that they no longer wanted the files because they weren't doing business with the city, I guess, and they were just gonna start destroying them because they were taking
So
up
why
a bunch
can't we
of
get
room.
them now?
That apparently, he's saying we misunderstood that, and that it was when he retired, he was ready, not ready to retire yet.
So for clarification, Jesse, so, and I know we said making copies or digitizing them and everything, but is it the original documents that are considered our property because they were in city files?
The originals do belong to the client.
So, so that
Oh.
everything that he has actually belongs to us.
I don't know what he has, but
If they're city file, if they're city, anything that he worked that we
yes,
actually,
they're city property.
yeah, so it is our property. So technically, it should be the main documents are our documents. If he needs to have copies, he can make copies. I mean, that's, and I'm just following records from experience in other places too. So,
That would be correct.
so technically,
So how
going
do
back
we-
to answer your question, those documents belong to us.
Right, so why do we not have them?
I asked if he was ready, we can start picking them up, and he said when he was ready to retire. That's all I can tell you. Outside of that, I think we need to have
Jesse, is
People take
there a
those steps.
limitation on us being able to receive our own files?
There may be, but hopefully not all of them will fall under potential exceptions. We have to look into it further and also to look into what other possibilities of what the city might do to get the documents, right? We have to look into that more. But yes, I would imagine if it's certain, just like other city records, at certain point, they become, abandoned after a while, or sort of under the property code, if something's been there for a long time. But I think that Mr. Kate, I think, was here until about a year ago. Now.
Yes.
So I don't think we're close to that point yet for anything like that. But while if he has, usually a client's documents, if they belong to, if they're in possession of an attorney, the client's files always belong to the client. And often the attorney can't keep a copy if they want some of this stuff for their own records, but generally they'll just turn them over.
So you're talking about being accessible, documentation being accessible to the client, to the city when asked, but there's no limitation that you know of that says they have to be sent to the city. Everything has to be, so let me put it in layman's terms, that everything that the city attorney, former city attorney has to be turned over to the city. There's no set date, set amount of time.
I'm not aware of one offhand, but generally it's the original documents, right? So if it's like a contract or a city ordinance or some official city document that was an official city record and it's the original, then yeah, that belongs to the client.
Because I can understand that this takes manpower to do this, and I can understand if that's a factor, for them to have to make copies and then deliver us the originals. I think it would be advantageous for us to absorb some of that cost by offering, like you said, but I think what the mayor is getting at, and I agree too, is that the original documents, they belong to this.
So I'm
We
gonna
should
play,
be receiving those.
yeah, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. And I will tell you, I'm not really sure what's all over there and what files are there because the times, I got more information getting that zoning file that he had than we had in our own records, unfortunately. But those didn't appear to be originals as far as what I can tell, they were copies of stuff. So what if that comes in play? Everything I have here is a copy, it's not an original, so I don't have anything to give
That's
you.
why I originally said I don't know what he has, so we would have to look a bit more. And again, I don't know what the record keeping system was at the time because up until we established the city administrator, it was really the city secretary and city attorney that had a lot of the documents. I don't know what where the originals were, or whether they were normally given to the city attorney, or I don't know.
I don't know either.
Any advice on how to expedite this and move forward?
We probably have to research it,
Yeah.
probably contact Mr. K and have some conversations.
Because it's already been a year since we talked about this, and I was telling Mr. Deere, I'm going on a year now. So it's been already a year, and 10%, 5%, 20%. If you were to throw out a guesstimation on how much of the files you think they have and versus what we
If
received.
I don't know what they've got, but if he's truly got 40 years worth of files there, we probably got a fraction of 0.1%. I came back with 2 banker's boxes and a little folder. So not much at
I
all.
think what it boils down to is, once again, and we gotta have a conversation with him, but I always understood that a file belongs to the client. The client requires or says, I want them, you have to turn them over. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So that's what it boils down to.
So how do we move forward?
This, in my opinion, needs to go to legal, and our attorneys talk to the previous city attorney and see what they can work out. I've offered, to just come over and start loading them in the bed of the pickup and bring them over here.
And that's what I was hoping to avoid. I was hoping to avoid the cost of the citizens of Lidle to have to pursue files that belong to them. I'm not speaking ill of anyone. I just think that the city, if they belong to the city, and I don't see why we don't have it.
And I'm not either, everything that I've asked for from the previous city attorney, we've gotten when I've asked for it, except the files. That was the only thing, I said, hey, let me know when you're ready and we'll start picking them up, and that's the response, that's the only thing.
So you're gonna get with Jesse and legal
If
and
that's the
find
way
out
council wants to do it.
our best avenue of getting these files?
Well, we need a motion for that, right? All right, Mayor, I move that we direct our city attorney to engage with the former city attorney to resolve the issue of who owns and who should have files.
I'll second that, Mayor.
Got it? Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
You opposed?
Abstain from voting, Mayor.
Thank you so much, council. I appreciate that. Okay, let's keep moving on. J, consider an act upon declaring city administrator's recommended list of personal property items as surplus, authorizing auction sale, and setting date for sale.
So council, each of all got a quick Excel spreadsheet that got sent out with it. There's 2 items I need to add to it that I forgot, James, but we have 2 old fuel pumps, correct? At your shop still? The ones that got removed, the ones we don't use, we ain't used in years. Right, yes or no?
Fuel pumps,
Yeah, the fuel, yeah,
the stand.
Yeah, the stand,
Gas pumps, yeah.
yeah, gas, yeah, I
Yes,
wanna,
sir.
I wanna put those in the auction, because those are, in my opinion, those are vintage and bring some money. So I wanna add those 2 to this list you see here tonight. I don't know if you want me to go down it, or if you got it there, it's a lot of just miscellaneous items that, could possibly still have value. Obviously, the bigger items are the vehicles we have, I think we have 5 of those in there. But we've got, miscellaneous. James has got 3 really large 3-inch gas meters. I think one's brand new, and the other 2 have been rebuilt. Yeah, so some stuff is just, it's just plain junk. It'd be more value to haul across the scale for scrap. I don't know if we need to do a list for that, or let's just haul stuff across. Some things we're gonna put in lots, like Christmas decorations. We've got Christmas decorations scattered throughout the whole city. A lot of them, we're keeping, I went with Paula, we're keeping what she knows works that we've used last year that we're gonna continue to have. We found a couple more things she wants to keep. Everything else, a lot of these old metal reindeer Christmas trees that, we've rewrapped with lights 500 times that are rusted.
That's the question.
We want to be able to put those in the auction, and if somebody buys
So
them.
is that one of the items, back 10 years plus, we had the old rebar frame
Oh, yeah. We got a bunch
decoration,
of
that's
those.
part of the,
We would like to put those in this auction, and if nobody buys stuff at the auction, get it deemed as
is there
salvage.
any way I could buy them without going to the auction? I'm telling you why, because, a lot of people on Main Street like those old decorations and have stepped forward and said willing to rewire and so forth. I don't know if, I guess if they go to auction, they go to
We'll have
auction.
a couple lots of them at the auction.
Yeah,
They'll
I had
buy a whole
asked
bunch
that
from
we
people.
try to get those back out, this past Christmas.
Well, Alderman, you can request that those be removed for now, for this particular sale,
Okay,
and then ask the staff to work with you on perhaps rehabilitating them to be used.
okay,
for
how do I
later
make that
celebration.
request?
I'm sorry?
How do I make that request?
Oh, you
Just
just
an email
identify
to
those
the-
items on the list. and
There's
ask those
the
to be-
two the Christmas decorations, because we're gonna do a whole bunch. Most of those are the metal ones.
Individualized, it's just.
Yeah.
Direct them to remove.
We can move the metal.
Just pull them both right now, and then Michael can go through it with whoever else and
Yes.
identify what we want to keep.
So I could just send an email to.
I can go photograph everything and send it to you and tell me
Yes.
what you wanna keep, but I can,
Okay.
if we're gonna use them, it's gonna take a lot of money and manpower to take the old lights off, get them power blasted, powder coated, and then manually rewire.
Yeah,
We could probably
like I
find-
said, if I need to, I can go out and get sponsors, and we can, rewire them.
I've had people asking,
Project for.
come on, why don't all the decorations we have on Main Street, it's pure decorations, they want to see more.
There were, when we did this, I worked with staff and we went with, quality over quantity. And that's gonna be our approach moving forward. In our opinion,
And there's a lot of them work, so.
there's a lot
How
of.
many of these decorations are we talking about?
The wireframe ones?
Yeah.
I think there's probably like 20.
Oh, there's probably more
No,
than that.
because down Main Street, there was like about 6 or 7.
That may be
And
what
I
you
know
saw,
they
we
went
have
this
got,
way.
The whole Gidley house is.
the
full of
Gidley
them.
House is, the whole.
No, I'm just
there's a
talking
Gidley
about the
House.
wireframe, the rebar type.
Yeah,
think there's like a
those
total
are
of
at the
20.
Gidley house.
Yeah, we've got, the most of our upstairs at the Gidley House, right, James, is all that old wireframe stuff. Over at the park, the pavilion or the pavilion area, it's got an upstairs, it's full of metal frame stuff. I mean, we've got a bunch.
This sounds like a job for the Keep Liable Beautiful Committee. to me, David. I mean, in the past, it's been one person dictating what decorations go up. We have a committee, to keep the town beautiful. It's composed of,
Paul likes the idea to get rid of the job, right?
to get rid of it or to put it on somebody else. I mean,
That's a great idea, but just so you know, it's hard to get them together for a meeting,
Yes, it is.
trust me.
I think that's one of the most opinionated topics in the whole city. It's most divisive, I should say, about Christmas decorations. Some people think they're tacky. Send it to committee. And then the committee can come back and say, well, we're gonna keep this. We're gonna sell this. But I like the rebar stuff. I don't know if it's rebar. It's all
They do
rebar.
rebar.
Yeah, it's all good.
Man, there's an easier way to make those wireframe things with rebar. I don't know why they were made out of rebar.
Well, I could tell you why they were broken, but I don't think we want to go into it.
Did you vandalize them?
No, the way they were stored. They were stored in the pavilion over here in the park.
It's where
And they were
a lot
basically
still are.
just stacked on top of each other.
They still are?
And you can't do that with Christmas lights. You're definitely breaking.
I say we do it all year round.
Hey, some people do leave decorations.
I don't know, that's up in South Texas, man. There's plenty
I
of
know.
South Texas.
So Mike, just, is there any way, I know they said 20-something, are you looking like 10 of them or something that you?
Well, that would be the other thing too, but let's say I get citizens that are willing to come out and sponsor these decorations. Then it's gonna be up to the city where we can put them.
Yeah, but for right now, just to remove them, it's just to remove
How
them.
many metal
Are you,
frames?
are you looking at about 10? Do you want 10 of them, just to,
Okay.
10?
The deer or a mixture
Well, because
of
there was
deer
Christmas tree,
and
there was the
Christmas?
angel, there was the candy cane, and I think that
Talking
was
about
it.
the frame, the single frame ones,
Yeah,
those are the older
I'll
ones.
be more than happy to go with you and you point out the ones you want to turn off full.
Okay. So, yeah, we're gonna.
That's where it goes,
Just say 10.
About 10. So about 10 that'll be about 10 to remove.
However many we'll pull them, yes, sir,
So-
everything else will go back in.
And then everything else goes on to that, just so we can kind of take care of that, so. Very good. All right.
And we were looking for, if y'all are okay with it, June 3rd as the auction date. That would give us time to get all this photographs done, start to really push the information out and publicize it. I think the vehicles, and some of the other bigger items we've got, we could start to bring people in.
Mayor, I move we approve the list of surplus items for auction as presented.
Okay, and the date?
For auction on
June 3rd.
June 3rd, minus the items that are going to be pulled by Mr. Oates.
Perfect, okay. Have a second? Got a second? Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thanks so much. Okay, thank you so much. All right, let's go ahead and move on to K, consider and act on task order number 23-05 and engineering services contract amended number 1 in the amount of $9,600 for Lido MHC Mobile Park Phase 1 and 2 review.
That's pretty simple. It's just and then into the contract authorizing an additional up to 9,600 to continue the review process. And they've reached what they previously had authorized and need to do more review on it. There's a lot of moving parts with that mobile home park. I can tell you the mayor and I have worked a bunch on it. But even move forward, they need more money. Again, that money gets reimbursed back to the city before we ever sign off on the final plat. So it may be money initially going out, but it's money we recover back.
I move we approve this as posted.
Okay, got a motion on the floor? I'll second that. You got a second? Any further discussion?
No permits have been pulled.
No, it's still under review. It hasn't been approved there. We've got a lot of moving parts still.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you so much, appreciate it. I consider and act upon setting a date for council budget workshop on May 15, 2023.
That's, Ms. Lynette, do you want to cover it or?
I have it in my stuff. Yeah, we're going to have a budget workshop on the 15th. The plans will be going out to all the department heads so they can do their wish list, mostly Richie. So we'll be ready to go.
So as staff, we're asking if we could do a budget workshop May 15th here with all of council. It'd be a workshop where we can start to go over, everybody can present their wish list.
Their wish list.
And then from there, internally, we can figure out how to make the world go around.
May the 15th is Police Officers Memorial Day.
Perfect. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion. Mayor, I move that we set a budget workshop for May 15th.
Okay. Motion?
Second.
Second? All right. No, it's gonna be interesting because I just looked at Sam and I was like, he's not gonna be around at this.
Well, thank you for taking the other two, sir. We appreciate it.
Well, we're gonna have
Two brand new announcements.
two new members and,
Have three.
Yeah, it'd be good for them.
yeah, it's, I don't know about their availability, they can just jump right in.
Yeah, jump right in, sink or swim.
All right.
We'll still have a form without them, so.
Yeah. But it's gonna get us ahead of the game. We need to start the ball rolling.
Yeah, we need them there, but if they can't make it, then.
We've already got preliminary values from Atascosa Tech.
What's the deadline that we have to have our budget set by?
Actually, the budget set by, Jesse sent us the new guideline for all the dates. I don't know, I printed that off and gave it.
It was like August 14th or something like that.
All right, okay.
Yeah, we're gonna be part of it.
They gave us a month
Yes.
out.
Yeah.
TML generates usually an annual guideline for budget deadlines, and so.
Yeah,
we got that.
I have it somewhere, I just couldn't remember.
It depends upon our approval rate and all
We're
that.
starting early, so if we have to go over that
Right.
voter approval rate or not.
But we
Gives
have,
us a chance to be ahead, and that way we get it done, and we're not rushed in the very end, trying to figure things out. Get it done early, we're done, we press on, so be able to take, and we've talked about this in previous councils. We said about starting the process in May, and we did, last year we did start in May, so. All right, so, got a motion, got a second, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's have
I mean,
it
people right now at the house.
that he would,
Wait, wait, wait,
Already told Richard, hey, you better be prepared.
Yeah. All right, thank you, council, appreciate it. Let's go ahead and move on to the department reports. This is number 9. First one up is we got the finance director's report, and included in there, we'll also have the city's quarterly investment report also. So turn it over to you on that.
I'm gonna ask if I can still sit over here, if that's okay, so I can see my computer better.
Yep.
Thank you. All right, for our utility billing in March, we have 1,500 water accounts. We billed at $61,930. We have 854 sewer accounts, which we billed $33,567. We have 347 gas accounts, which we billed $59,728. Our total utility billings were $155,255. Donations and miscellaneous income. Animal control brought in $115.50. Library brought in $168.75. Total city donations altogether. There was miscellaneous ones in there as well. It could be spade and neuter and that other miscellaneous accounts that hit were $284.25. The fire department, which remember that is redistributed, it goes back to them, even though it is donations that come in on our utility billing, was $1,012. Residential garbage collection, we have 1,393 residents at $32,000 is what we billed. Waste management billing, which is our expense, is $25,238. So our gross surplus of that was $7,064, not including G&A and O&B. City sales tax, our March deposit was $1,111.40 Our year-to-date is $782,777. Our budget is $1.5 million, but we're right on track where we need to be for that. Our franchise tax comes in quarterly. We do have some that pay monthly that send checks to Paula and we book it. But our fourth quarter was at $62,843. Our first quarter of the year, we came at $46,494. And our total for the fourth and the third quarter were $109,338. Court fines, I know I've been talking about that a lot. In March, we didn't have as many court dates, so we're a little bit low, but we did $64,337. We didn't collect as much as we did this time, but spring break really has an effect on people that want to pay their fines. Year to date, we're at $358,607, and our budgeted amount the year was $308,050. So we're actually over about $58,000 on surplus. With that, and I know that looks like a big amount, but I also want everybody to see on the bottom there that there's fees that have to go out. So like warrant collection fees, which go to a law firm called Purdue. Purdue Brandon. Year to date, we've paid out $16,000. Failure to appear fees that I have to pay back to the state is another $4,300. And the state court fees, which Mr. Kate was asking about this last time that I paid out, pay quarterly. Our year-to-date's $135,926. So even though we do bring that money in, I still have a lot of fees that go out. Some of the internal updates for court. Ashley will be leaving for court clerk 1 testing in May. She'll be gone the 3rd to the 5th in Corpus. Hopefully she will be our first certified court clerk since Monica. And I can't remember when Monica was here last. It was way before Paula. So we will have a court clerk 1 position opened up in June of 2023. And I'm sad to say that Diana will be retiring in October 23 as well. In utilities, we're doing something a little bit different. And I know a couple of the councilmen have talked to me about complaints that they're getting from your residents. The city in the past, as soon as the 10th comes, they generate past due letters on the 11th. These past due letters have caused a little bit of confusion with some residents, because even though the money may say they came in later that day and paid it and it was in the inbox, or it hasn't been booked yet to the accounting system, it generated a past due letter that was sent out. It was numerous people always complaining, saying, I paid my bill, you've messed up. We've gotten some letters, complaints, a lot of phone calls. We're going to stop doing the late fee letters. So we're not going to be sending those out anymore because we're going to try to stop the confusion on that and stop the bad feelings of people thinking that we're not doing their bills the way that as quick as they need to.
Jesse, can we collect late fee penalties if we don't send a late fee letter?
I think you can because it's under the general rate structure, but I would have to double check that.
Okay.
I don't think it requires notice. It's usually already in your general services type agreement. It's part of your late fee. It just ends up showing up in the bill if you have a late fee charge. So I don't think it's required that they have notice to do that.
Thank you. So what we were going to do, where we were going to stop the paper sending out that Liza, if they did not pay within a certain time, they were going to make the phone calls to the residents and saying, hey, how can we help you? Is there a problem? And still keeping in touch. And she still does that as well. We have redone all the changes the way that we have done rereads, trying to keep James more involved in his projects that he needs to get done. The way that we're doing any kind of service orders, work orders now, they are put in a box in here and James can pick and choose which one he wants to do. There's no more calling him or saying, hey, I need you to come to the office, and it just really more structured compared to what we had before. Another big change that was on the second one, was rereads and then work orders. That kind of fell together at the same time. Internally, the 23-24 budget is under process. I have everything already uploaded in the system, started sending out department head notices last week. So hopefully I'll get their wish list and we can start going through numbers. We have y'all approved the budget workshop for the 15th. We are on schedule for the audit and hopefully to start in late October, early November. They already have me on schedule. It took about 4 weeks, but I was finally accepted into the CGFO, the Certified Government Finance Officer Program. It took about 4 weeks for them to do all my whole background history and my background check. And so I will be testing out to have a CGFO behind my name, another allocated. Probably won't use that one either. But, and I'll be doing that in San Marcos in the fall. So, and I will
just so you know, this is part of what our auditor asked us to make sure that.
She didn't ask me to go for the certification. She just said, if you really wanted to, there's only, right.
Training portion of it.
Okay, well, not this part of it. She wanted me to go for the GoFund training. We're just going a little bit farther with this.
Awesome.
So, there's only, I think, 70 total in Texas. The pass rate on the exam is like 65%. It's not great, but we have a bet going right now. So, and then I will be off May 18th and 19th. My oldest daughter is getting married, so I will be gone for a couple of days.
Could you send that out?
You want it?
Yes. Always.
You like it that much?
That's good information.
That's
Very good. So the.
Yeah. Let Paula do hers, and I totally did not upload that. Let me grab
So
it.
you're gonna
real quick.
we'll come back to the.
We'll come back to that. So let me load Paula's up for her real quick, and I'll go grab the interest. Right here. I see you are. Is it?
Is it?
City Secretary?
You're right. I was looking for an icon. Thank you.
Help me with that one. Okay, for the month of March, we had 19,000 in ad valorem taxes. Year to date will be 749,741. And we budgeted 853,000, equal to 88% of the budget. Delinquent taxes revenue will be $6,214. Our permits will be for March, 11,320. Year to date will be $75,000. The budgeted, we budget about 135,000, equal to 56% of our budget. And our inspections, we had 28 inspections in total, which was the Rocklands and Tap House and the finals. 57 for our regular inspections, including framing, electrical, and AC and finals. Kind of changed that this month, so it is all included there. And we did have 5 new homes for the month of March. We already have quite a few that come in. So, that's what I have. Any questions?
Awesome.
Here you go.
While we're bringing that up, can you go ahead and let the council know how it went with our seniors luncheon?
Oh, they loved it. We had a good turnout. Quite a few people that we had, of course, you were not out there. We had the lady from our.
Medina Healthcare?
Yes. She was one of the people there. I think they had so much fun with it. We're gonna start playing bingo, but they haven't.
That's good, they ran out of time.
I think it was a very good turnout. They love the food.
Well, you did a great job. You did a great job. Heard some great comments from folks who were walking back, so they enjoyed it. I know they're already looking forward to the next
I
one.
enjoyed it.
And they were asking, when's the next one? So they were ready for it.
I can tell you both those programs are growing quite a bit, so Paul's done a good job on that. Okay, I sent this out earlier to everybody here, so bring out the certificates of obligation. We're still moving forward on a couple of those. Maybe next month I'll start trying to break down how much we spent out of each one, so we can keep that track going. We're starting to get some of the bills coming in finally. Saddle Ridge, there we go, the biggest hits there. So phase 1 is pretty much done. They got 65 homes completed. They got 3 right there by the front that's gonna remain open for parking for their office, and they got 1 more that kind of sits in a weird spot I'm assuming they're gonna wait on. If you go to phase 6, the next one that they're working on, if you haven't been out there lately, they got 25 homes under some, whether they're framed up for foundation or homes fully, they're moving quick on those. So, we're gonna complete a walk through the road, so the maintenance bond expires in May. So we are scheduled this week, hopefully with TRC and their people to go do a walkthrough. When I say walkthrough, we're gonna manually walk those roads all over again, just to see if I can pinpoint any little crack or rock or anything out of place that we can call our maintenance bond in on before we lose that ability. There's already some issues going on over there. We're still addressing the damages on Huckleberry Street. So the initial report we got from the geotech company when they did core samples was that there was no substrate structure issues, that mainly just come through and still coat the entire road, you'll be fine. They did note, and the same thing I saw with some cracks in the road, that they said, oh, those are fine, just seal them back up. But that was a company hired by the developer. Our engineers, we're gonna go back out there, we're gonna walk it. That may not be what our engineers say. And I'm gonna tell you, if our engineers say mill it and repave it, that's gonna be the city's official stance. Mill it and repave it, have a good day. So if those of y'all don't know, they took, someone took a sheep's foot roller, which is a roller with those real aggressive knobs on it, unloaded it on our street, backed it halfway down our street into the intersection, then drove it into the construction site for phases 2 and 5. Very obvious. And now that road has developed cracks down the center of it. I don't know if that's coincidence or it actually did some damage. So 2 and 5 are still awaiting CPS completion. They're out there still working. We're waiting acceptance of the phases. We may have something coming up soon on it, but we still got a couple moving parts. They did some manual testing without notifying our inspector. I took a call from him today and he wasn't too happy and he said he wasn't going to sign off on it. So we'll see how they work out. I told our inspector, if you're not happy, don't sign it, period. It's your name on it. I can't, so we're going to work from there. Rosewood, phase 1 and 3 are still in construction. They're still working on some stuff. If you've driven by it, it looks like their electrical is finished. They've got street lights up and everything like that. So we should have BK Knowlton moving back in over there to start their work. I know they did reach out about the water main extension project, how that's going. So Lytle Farms, we're still working on that. We're pending the PID review. I've reached out to a firm to assist us with that. I still haven't heard back, which is kind of odd. So I'm probably just going to go to the next. I like this firm because we already have a relationship with them. but I'm not getting a response back, so I'm gonna reach out to the other firm Jesse sent us and just see what we can get, because I don't wanna be the reason we're holding them up either. Open projects, the street lights along Main Street. If you haven't been out there, work has already started. I got a taco lunch. Work's already started. They've gone out there and they started drilling all the holes for the poles. So that we should have that lit up before too long. Spinning the signs on North Somerset and Cottage. Public Works and Police Department marked everything today, I believe, and they should start installing those pretty soon. We still don't have any movement on the bollards. They're on North Somerset Street where our park entrance is, where the road kind of just falls off and there's a void. I'll continue working to see when we can get that one done. Drainage on Adams Street, we're gonna get a costed upgrade from the engineers on the analysis to see how we can start the budget for that one. Kimberly Horn performed the Lakeshore stuff. Live Oak Street, Mason Street, the mayor and I went out and looked at that, and I definitely see what he's talking about. It looks like both sides are high, and it's a valley where the water is really draining. McCoy Lane, the water issues, we're talking about McCoy Lane, it is done. So they've done all the testing, it's operational, we've got people connected to it now. We're gonna do some more stuff on it coming next year. Waterloo Pedestrian Bridge is finished and it's back in service. The road boring on 2790 East, last I heard, we're still waiting on TxDOT permits. We keep answering questions we submit. We had both permits at one point, but we didn't move quick enough to get the road boring done, so the permits expired. I scheduled the road bore and then was told, hey, we don't have permits, so now we're back in limbo, and now apparently there's a bunch more loopholes we gotta jump through. And then I'm gonna work with Jesse and legal to get a nice, pretty letter drafted that we can send to that owner of the unmetered fire hydrant up at 2790 East of the private residence on how we're going to remove that, and we're actually gonna move it down to the McCoy Lane too. So it's still gonna have it for its house, it's gonna be within the requirements for ISO, it's just gonna be down at the intersection in the public right of way, not on private property. There's all of our city contracts, there's a whole bunch going on there. Movement is the emergency management plan. We've got another meeting scheduled with our contractor, but just some more annexes. He's making some movement on that. Nothing really to report there. Miscellaneous updates. I mean, we have meetings all the time. Staff does. We're still working with CPS on the gas system on how we move forward next year. We've got land development meetings, floodplain construction. That's on a specific spot here. Couple of demos for new software, so you'll see when we do budget talks, where staff's gonna be asking for some money for some new software here in City Hall to upgrade what we currently have and hopefully get away from paper bills and get to where we're sending stuff out via email and having a portal for people to log on to our website and pay their utility bill directly. And same thing with court, and just make it a turnkey operation. Grant works, frontage road updates, groundbreakings, meeting with the auditor. I took 35 and 3/4 hours of vacation. I've renewed my membership to the International City Managers Association. There's a training this year, and they have it in Texas and Austin. I'll be going to September, October timeframe. And then I've applied and awaiting acceptance. They have a 30-day period after you apply for the Texas chapter. So I'm joining that one. That one you have to be sponsored. I've got a relationship with the city manager down in Pearsall. He's probably the easiest one to work with and the one that returns my calls when I have questions. So he sponsored me. I'm in their waiting phase. So as soon as I get accepted to that, I'm already talking about hotels. I've already reserved the hotel in Allen for their conference when I go up there in June, I believe it is. But I reserved it now so I could get the discounted rate. Code compliance report. So bulky waste, Skip said he removed the items in 28 locations and left 10 pamphlets with people about the collection rules. It's a little high for me. What? Where'd I miss? Oh, yeah, there you go. What happens when you get typing too fast there? I was hungry that day. I wanted brunch. So I'll make that correction. But I want to get to where we're not actually removing the items unless we absolutely have to, right? I mean, that's, to me, if you remove the item and don't have any enforcement, you're just enabling them for next month kind of thing. So we're going to get that to reduce it. Brush collection or brush collection. 32 warnings issued for brush being out early and notify the residents correct time. 6 warnings for the limbs being too large for pickup. Again, we'll work on that on, hey, it's out too early, you need to pull it back in kind of thing. Overgrown lots, he had 4 properties maintained, building permits, he actually involved in every building permit now. Code compliance has to look at and approve to make sure that it's not built, the lot lines, and some of the things are simple permits, so that's stuff he needs to review. So he did 5 of those last month. And then water restrictions, he had 3 warnings issued for watering on incorrect date or time. In the Parks Department, so the John Lott Park, we're working on rehabbing the walking trails. We're working tremendously with the Little League on the needed maintenance to the fields. We just upgraded both the tablets they use to control the scoreboards. One actually wasn't working at all. But we were able to I found the previous vendor and reached out to them, and all it cost us were the actual tablets. We still had licenses and everything from 3 years ago. I want to work on filling the grass seed over there with Wayne. We got a lot of dirt still in the ground. So please, I hope my wife's not watching, but I made a donation and bought some grass seed we're going to throw down over there and see if we can't get it to grow and try to see how that works. Playground areas, we want to fill those with mulch again, and then tree trimming and removal of some old, not odd day tree. Well, that's for this one, I'll let this one. The park and coal mine, it's got a lot of general maintenance areas in the entire park we need to address. So I'll work with Parks on how we address those and move forward. Veterans Park, because the VFW takes care of it, it's really nothing major there going on. They normally notify us pretty quick when there's an issue.
I just want to say, I know you got the up, but this weekend I got a chance to meet with some of the board members from the Little League, and they were all giving you lots of kudos for everything that you're doing.
That's everybody heard.
So a lot of kudos for you, the city, Wayne, everybody out there making a difference. So they
We got like because of them finding a supplier for the clay they use on the field. We're hopefully next year going to be able to rehab those as a grant to the city through them. We just publicize some stuff today. We'll see. Human Resource Animal Control Division, we accepted applications for a 2-week period that closed on 4/20/23. We received 1 application, and we're going to conduct an interview on Thursday, so hopefully it works out for that position and we can get it filled permanently. Public Works Division, we're still accepting applications through the 26th. We've already got 4 that have already applied. So we'll see how that goes. We've already got a couple that look okay. Any other questions?
Got 2 questions.
Yes, sir.
For the meetings, land development meeting, what's being discussed there?
It's just people that normally come in and say, hey, there's a parcel of property over here. A lot of times they're in our ETJ, and they're like, hey, what would the city annex us? And typically, if we meet with somebody like that, myself or the mayor, we always tell them we're not a governing body. We don't make decisions. We don't decide anything. We just help give you direction on where utilities are and what the process is for annexation and stuff like that. So we get those. I mean, we can get cold calls during the day.
Yeah, I mean, because of course, I think you and I really talked about this, that we're really not in a position to be taking on any more developments right now, so I don't know what the position is as far as telling those folks, hey, we need infrastructure. If they want to come out here and pay for all of our infrastructure, that's something else, but I'm curious because like I said, the infrastructure's not there to be bringing in any more subdivisions. The floodplain meeting.
I think we're not, real quick on that. So we had one that came in and said, hey, what about all this land up here? We get annexed in and we do a big residential development. And our response was, we've got a lot of residential already coming in. At this point, maybe that's not really where we're looking because of utilities. So I don't know which way they're going, but yeah, if it's outside the city already, then we're already telling them, hey, we've got utility issues and there's a cost factor when that comes up. The floodplain, that comes down to a location in the city where somebody constructed a driveway in the floodplain. When they pulled the permit, it was for a simple permit sidewalk, and so that falls now back in their court. We approved the cost for our engineer, but they said they wanted to get a price on some other information they're gonna have to gather, so.
Yeah, that was off Somerset. We talked about that last meeting. But I guess the other floodplain thing that I've seen is down here off 132, where they've got work being done, and there's been work being done in the floodplain.
You're talking about where that,
Whatever, right past
the fireworks stand on the left, if you're headed out of town?
Yeah, it was before the fireworks stand.
Yeah, you're talking about this, where the old fireworks stand was, it's not there.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, we're the old fireworks, yeah. So if you look at that, there's a portion that is in the city and a portion that's in the county. We've notified the county because a lot of the construction was being done in the county, and they were supposed to be, we notified their floodplain people about that construction, as well as, another piece of property up there that's being developed that maybe didn't have the right utilities.
Has anybody talked to the person doing the development out there?
We did on ours, and told him he had to get a permit for the location of that metal building, the storage kind of container he got out there, and he came in and pulled his permit.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a lot of construction down there, and a portion of it is in our floodplain, right? So, the county, if you can't get a hold of the county, there needs to be something.
No, the county, we have talked to the county, and they've allegedly been out there and talked to him.
Has that all been engineered out there?
So Charles, to answer your question, so the first part, the one that is closer to, further away, that one belongs to the county, the one where there's multiple containers in there for a business.
No, I don't think it's that one, it's the one closer to.
So the one
Right at
closer,
the bridge.
so the one closer, that has been brought up, that was brought up before to the previous city secretary. And at that point, it was told to us that had gone through the floodplain administrators to go ahead and get that taken care of. I'm just letting you know what I was told.
Yeah, I guess my question is, can we double check on that to make sure, because that is in our floodplain, right? And big issue we have around here, look, we get an inch of rain, stuff starts to flood, right?
So correct me if I'm wrong, Jesse, so our city limits runs there, we can control floodplain in our city limits, the floodplain that's in our ETJ, that needs to go to the county? Or do we control the floodplain in our ETJ as well?
We don't have an interlocal agreement with the Atascosa County regarding development in the ETJ, right?
I'm not aware.
So, no.
And we've notified Atascosa County's floodplain administrator about that construction.
The second one we have, the first one was actually started a while back, and this is before we changed it to where now we have to get it through our engineers to get checked off before Paolo can actually sign it. So all that actually happened before that with the property owner.
But yeah, the construction that I've seen outside the city limits in our ETJ, that has all been forwarded, and we've notified Atascosa County's floodplain administrator.
Hey, Atascosa County, they're not gonna have a problem if we get flooded in Lytle.
I don't disagree, sir, but I still know what enforcement action we have, is all I'm saying. If there's something else we can do, I'll be more than happy to.
Talk about it in a later meeting. Just curious.
The thing, from what I understood when I brought it up before, is that they were gonna do other things out there, and they said they would submit for permits when they were gonna do other.
In the city side.
In the city side.
Yeah, our city side is that little
But
bitty
he hasn't
corner where
done
that
it-
box,
he
if
hasn't
you
done
move that
anything-
box
yeah,
100
has he
feet.
done
you probably
anything on
got
that one? Matt, has he done anything besides just getting the
Just getting
permit,
the permit, no.
permit for the container, right?
Yeah. It's right on the edge, if he pulled it, it'd probably be outside the city.
So, that was during the time, and just for the council, this is the time that we had the issue with an additional exit right there next to TxDOT. TxDOT got involved with that and said that couldn't have the other one. So basically, they pushed it to just the one side of the canal, where they could actually go in and go out.
What's the intention of the boxes? On some kind of business item?
No, from what I gather, in our, talking to our code compliance, when he's met with them, it's just, he bought it, it's in the floodplain, can't do much with it, it was just a spot, so when they have family gatherings, the family can hang out all together out there. But there's no real use intended for anything out there.
Okay. Anything else? All right. Let's go ahead and, let's see, take a look at executive session. Do we have anything that we need to?
Nothing you to report.
Okay. Nothing else we need to go into? Nope.
Can we do the finance, the investment?
Yes, please. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Sorry about that. So this is just a quick investment report. We have the first accounts here, what you see are what we call regular funds, the way they were set up. Right at the end of March, we had 1,081,175. These down here are money market accounts, which we actually book interest on every month. From the time October up to March, you can see like these two have been booked. That means I have not got the interest report on them yet. But from the time of the year ending, all of these money market reports have come up and made a total of $4,310. Not very much, but they are still making a little bit of money. Our CD accounts, all these accounts are still here. These are your beginning balances as of September 30th. These are the interest I've booked through the year. We started at 876. We ended at 877. For the quarter, we have brought in a little over $1,200. Now, I was talking to Max not too long ago, and Matt had a meeting with him too. We are looking on combining a lot of these. And in September, he goes where he calls it, they bid out for new investments. So hopefully we will roll all these up by maybe May or June. And then we will be able to have just, all these CDs are going to be in one account that we can.
On the ones that we know aren't dedicated. So
That
like
aren't
the one that
dedicated
says the one, you're a fund CD. Everything that I've been told throughout the years, that is a CD the one years gave to the city specifically for general maintenance and operation of the community center. I think we'll have some big plans moving forward into our next budget year with that money.
If any of you know any reasons why some of this money was set aside or put into separate accounts, please let Matt and I know so we can make a plan for it. Paul and I have went through so much history trying to find some way that we would know, like this, like the Lidle Library CD. Why was that there? We can't find a rhyme or reason why these were put in separate accounts. I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want to hurt anybody in Lidle, but we do want to make the accounting a little bit more simpler. The same as for all these money market accounts.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
That's a great update. This is the first time I've ever seen that. So.
Oh, and our total assets, our liquid assets are 11.6 as of March 30th.
How much of that has been spent on certificates of obligation?
On the COs, I have that in a separate account up here. That is going to be all those 8.5. So if you take that 8.5 out, minus 11, we're still at around 3.5 to 4 million. That's where we were last year as well. I can show you the rotations if you want to. I just don't have them in front of me. We rotate right all the time in the general fund about anywhere between 1 to 1.3, and we have been staying there. Which, when I say general fund, I mean this one, it's actually used as an operating fund.
I'm just knowing the vast majority of that liquid stuff is not really liquid. It's going in the ground.
Yeah, and no, it's capital. It's capital, but when it comes to any kind of liquid funding, I mean, that's stuff that we can get our hands on like right now.
All right. Any questions on this? All right. Okay, don't have anything in executive session, so let's go ahead and move on to number 11, informational items. Let's start over here.
I have one thing there.
Yes, sir.
Just to put it on our radar, Senate Bill 369 is, unfortunately, it seems to be progressing in Austin. And TML's analysis of that bill, it is basically any area of the city that does not receive full city services will be automatically disannexed from the city at the end of the year. So that's very worrisome because that's all Lakeshore. That's everybody else who in the city who's not on city sewer. So in the off chance that this bill passes, you and I, for one, won't be able to serve on the council there. I don't have city sewer. And we're probably losing out on the city, 150,000 approximately in ad valorem taxes. So with that being said, I think in the coming month or two, we need to formulate a contingency plan in the worst case scenario. just because, I believe in being prepared. And I spoke to a gentleman at, TML, his name's Monty Gwynn. He sent a letter to the Senate Committee Chairman, voicing TML's opposition, because it wouldn't just be Lytle that's affected, it's small towns all across Texas. But he advised me that we could give our congresspeople a call. So I thought that maybe it would be a good idea if we got something worked out from the council voicing our opposition, if necessary. Having people around the city sign a petition, because it would be catastrophic if that was to happen for Lytle.
I came across our email, they're asking for all city people to send letters off.
So, I mean, if we can get something drafted up, if we could have something in the lobby for people to sign, it's just, like I said, it's something that's, would not be good for us, wouldn't be good for a lot of communities in Texas, so.
You can add me to the list too.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think everybody should be against it.
Yeah, because I don't have sewer.
You got anything?
Just the general TML announcements. They normally send out regular notices, just a variety of bills. But right there, there's been some bills affecting general city disannexation. Limited services is one of them, but there are also bills allowing certain areas of cities to petition to be de-annexed. The legislature had a series of sessions where they've had a number of bills that are very against a lot of city type interests over the years. So this is kind of along that general trend. So yes, that's certainly if the city wanted to do contact, you can always do that individually. If you want to do that corporately, that could be something you put on the next agenda.
Yeah, we probably need to do it corporately. I think it would be important. I mean, I think we have one, yeah, you have some in your area.
Yeah, they true.
Well, Mike said he's on septic too, so he'd be out.
Yeah, so.
Saying, I don't know how much of Coleman is on
I think everybody was up there.
everyone's.
Everybody's on the.
Sewer.
Except, well, no, I guess that would be in the ETJ further out, those are septic, right? The ones going up towards the cemetery and all that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have.
So it's like Richard Hughes, is he on septic or sewer?
No.
He's out there in the field, man. His homestead's out there in the field.
Yeah, so you got that, you got yours, so literally, I mean, just looking around without, I mean, every one of you has homes that would be affected by this, so definitely a good point, Charles.
About the Twin Lakes.
Parts of Twin Lakes, I think, are on septic too. I mean, it's a lot. I mean, it's not just like contiguous pieces of land. They could have somebody over here that's on septic in the middle of town and they'd be disannexed. The bill's terrible. You know, that's not. Senate Bill 369.
What's amazing is these bills are advancing though. That's what scares me. When you read a lot of these, they keep moving.
And I guess that's something I think plan for in the future. I mean, we have no control over who's in Austin, I guess. I mean, I guess we sort of do, but putting ideas in their head, it's a terrible. Yeah, there you go. Lynette's got it up there. Yeah, not a whole lot of thought going into it.
Another one was to cut the ETJ to like 25 yards or something. I don't know if it's advanced or not. But that's one I followed.
We
Yeah.
also got another one, they're trying to recall any CARES fund acts that haven't been used. They're making cities do a separate type of reporting for them. Which, I mean, we're exposed to 100%, but I mean, it's gonna be a reporting nightmare.
City still got CARES fund money, they should give it back, you should have spent it by now, we're done, you know?
Oh, it hadn't gone away. I still wear a mask. I don't have it on than that.
I wonder how San Antonio's dealing with this one because they got.
And you know, if you've read much of this, you know, if you haven't, this is really not targeting cities our size or targeting larger cities, but we're all getting thrown in together.
The history on it, it's areas in Austin, neighborhoods in Austin weren't getting whatever, they felt like they were getting full services, but the way it's worded, it affects everybody.
Yeah.
So, not good.
Yeah.
Not narrowly construed, huh, Jesse?
City council in San Antonio, they weren't too happy about that.
Yeah, nobody's gonna be happy about this, I don't think, so.
So we'll take a look at it. Anything else, Charles?
That's it, Mayor. I thought about this on, Friday afternoon. Thought we should
Appreciate
put
it.
it on the radar.
Yeah, we probably need to consider putting it on the agenda for the next, be able to do that. Paula?
I'm emailing it to all the details.
Thank you. Paula, anything? Any additional information to pass on?
Everything went well with the seniors, everything went well with the outreach program. I'm all good.
Appreciate it. It did. It went very, very well. Annette, anything
Yes, sir.
back over here? Anything back? Richie, anything? Nada? Okay.
Remember May 6th for, our 4 dumpsters around town and garbage on the streets?
So definitely be able to do that. Okay, some informational items that I want to go ahead and pass on. Being able to take care of the stuff. I do want to add Matt and Public Works and Wayne, especially with the great community outreach fair. Danny from PD was out there, so thank you for doing that. Richie, that worked out really good. Great turnout, and looking forward to June's, to take care of that. Do want to add a little special even today, but other ones that we've had. PD, thank you so much for the taking care of bailouts. Been keeping us pretty busy.
We have them
Even today.
since 2:45 this
Yeah.
morning already, so, and probably more than that.
Yeah, so it worked out really good being able to take care of that portion of it. Want to go ahead and add on the communities, provide a few updates. The community center, the Wi-Fi has been installed. So our community center now has a capability of being able to have the Wi-Fi connectivity, whether it's for a meeting for us, for emergency purposes. That's our alternate location. And we still have some additional equipment that Matt is helping us out to be able to do that in the future, so we can have more capability. But we're in a lot better place than we were before, so it'll help us out. We want to add a TxDOT update. 31, everything has been pushed a week, so starting next week, they're looking at flipping 3175 south, where we will no longer be able to drive down towards Trophy Bucks. You'll have to go through Natalia and then come back up. They're estimating approximately about 10 days while they're actually doing the paving and the things that they need to do. Do want to give you a heads up on Bill Miller's. They have 2 driveways. When they start pouring concrete, one driveway is going to be shut down for 5 days. They're going to flip flop, and then the other one for 5 days. So for 10 days, be prepared. We're going to actually, as the weather holds up, you're going to have a little bit of tightness in the traffic going in and out of Bill Miller's, but they've been working with them. And then the other thing to stay tuned is the southbound lane, the one that is right there on 3175 in front of the Orange Building Mexican. I'm trying to remember the name of the Mexican restaurant right there, next to Park Place. Yep, thank you. Yeah, that's in the, and it's right there by Park Place. Be prepared. They're going to shift. They're going to build a temporary ramp, move into the temporary ramp for us to use. They're going to fix the old one or repave it, and then they're going to swap back out. So we're going to have, they won't do a complete closure, but we're going to have a relocation.
So about the ramp to get on 35 south.
The ramp to get on 35 south. That is correct. So more to come on that one. Stripes, stay tuned. We're still waiting to hear, see what's going to happen. I think it's the end of May now, from what I understand. And we'll just stay tuned on that one. HEB has actually started after them and is getting done before them. But of course, it was a little bit less stuff they're doing. But the new pumps, they've had a few little issues on there, but everything is going the way it's going. And hopefully here by the end of the week, beginning of next week, that new food preparation area looks like it's going to be tacos and stuff like that. It's going to be opening up, so I'll push the stuff out once that happens.
They called me today, there is gonna be a hood in there, I guess they got so, they're gonna be submitting some plans on that, but they're
Yeah.
waiting on something, he said.
Yep, so they're gonna be doing a little bit of other stuff, cooked stuff there, ready to go. Like, we mentioned Dave with the cleanup day on the 6th of May, please stay tuned on that one. Please make sure that we visit the shops of Lidl and antique vendors. If you haven't stopped by there lately, please stop by. Get information on stuff that they're doing, and they're doing a little bit more. So we're going to be working closely with them just to try to help them with their marketing and stuff that they're doing.
Speaking of the chamber, we're already working with them for the next music fest, and looking at different acts to book and different venues. So,
Yep. So stay tuned on that one.
Also want to go ahead and just remind folks, we still have one outstanding financial disclosure report that is required by all council members. They need to be turned in. And this is just for transparency, like always, and that's the reason why we put that out there. If for some reason we do not get that one that is outstanding turned in by the end of this week, the 28th of April, I'll need to ask for legal assistance of what we actually need to do that. So we need to go ahead and take care of that requirement. Want to let folks know that we actually have done really good in school. UIL academic team going to state quarterfinals. We got Samantha Mojica, Robert Wagner, and Miguel Gonzalez. They'll be competing in Austin in May. So that's for academics. I mean, they keep doing a great thing. For track, for the boys 3A area, they're going for the we're champions and regional quarterfinals. They're going for the regionals in Seguin, and that's happening at the end of this week. So they're doing really good. Our boys baseball team won for the district. Kudos to them and Coach Bigberg and everybody. I mean, they've done a really, really good job this year. If you haven't gone out there and seen them, they're all freshmen and sophomores, a few seniors and juniors. It's unbelievable. They're just doing a great job. The girls also have done a great job. They were second in district in softball. They'll be going into the playoffs. They'll be playing in Poteet here coming, I think it's on Thursday, if I'm not mistaken. So stay tuned on that one. Birthdays that are coming up too. We already recognized Jesse. We got Ashley on the 6th of May. We got our city administrator on the 25th of May. And then James on the 30th of May. Just so kind of have an idea of some of the birthdays that are coming up. Any last minute things? Okay. You guys don't have anything. It is 10:01. Can I get a motion for us?
I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Okay, got a motion on the floor. That's a second. Second. Okay, appreciate it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Appreciate it.